Afternoon, everyone. We are live and we finally got some good weather here in Jamaica and in the grill. It is actually very beautiful out here. We got very nice, calm seas, few clouds in the sky, but pretty much super, super blue. And we have, I would say, a fun and interesting show coming up. And it should be a fun one. It should be, yep. It should be a fun one. We got the team here. We have our first annual Throt Media retreat, and we've been having a pretty fun weekend, I'd say, so far. And we decided to make part of the weekend and part of the retreat a live stream discussion with everybody on. We've done live streams before with everybody, but it's been virtual, and we figured like, hey, this is the first time we're all getting together, and it's the first time that everybody is actually meeting each other. So we figured let's do it live and in person, and it should be a fun one. We got a couple of different topics that we're going to be talking about. I know the thumbnail and the title says dating, which we will be talking about, but I think the team has like a lot more, experience, insight on many other subjects in just about life, but definitely about Jamaica. And one of the things that we definitely want to talk about is the stock market situation that's happening here in Jamaica that I think is at least a surprise to me, and just we're going from one end to the other, being the number one or the best performing stock exchange for quite some time, for 2 years in a row in recent history, to being apparently one of the worst performing stock exchanges. So we'll talk about that shortly, and then we'll get an introduction to the team in a bit, but of course want to hear where everybody is from, where you're chiming in from, what city, what state, what country, and we'll say hello to the team shortly. Actually, we could switch to the team. Okay, all right, we'll switch to the beach. It's quite the setup. Oh, sorry. I'll let you do your thing. I'm not in control of the cameras today. I'm not used to that, so I gotta keep my hands and my fingers to myself. I don't know which person you're talking about, Jovi. There's two people next to me. No, they're on there. Yeah, we could bring you guys in. Oh, we're waiting for Chad. So let me see if I'm going to bring up this article. Actually, we won't jump into it quite yet, even though I kind of want to. Wait for other people to join the discussion. Shortly, we're just waiting on one more team member, and we can get going. I'm glad to be able to do this. So the pressure of the live stream isn't only on me. I have other people I can rely on. This is Candy's. Yeah, we're still setting. It's quite the setup today. So we are just doing some last minute adjustments to what we have here. All right, yeah, we're switching lenses. All right, let's go to the comments. See what everybody's saying. See where everybody is from. Jay Fitz, what's going on? Chiming in from Atlanta. Hello, J Lo. Also in Atlanta. Hey, Jeff. Checking in from Montreal. Very cool. Hope you are doing okay up there with the forest fires. It was pretty crazy. I was in New York last week, and we got a whiff of the smoke. I'm sure you're very well aware. Hey, Donna. Chiming in from Ottawa. Yeah, the beach is very nice. It's been, like I said earlier, like it's been raining this entire week. We had a shoot on Thursday, but we had it was like torrential downpour and also just like thunder and lightning. So we had to switch to Friday, and we did the shoot and pretty much the rain, but we did our best. Everybody held in there. Jovi, I think you might be talking about Candice. We'll bring Candice back on shortly. Hello, Wellness and Nature. What's going on, Chris? Checking in from Panama City. Always appreciate you on, man. Appreciate you coming on, supporting. Oh, you can say hi on the mic. Yeah.
Hi, Donna.
Seema on the move. Good to see you, Seema. Strong Island is in the building. How you doing, Chris? Good to see you. Wellness checking in from the US of A. Hi, Cherie. Chiming in from Boston. No, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Ontario. Michelle's World. Hello. Natural Yard chiming in from Boston. Hi, Marie. Just up north in Orlando. Oh, hey, Yvonne. Chiming in from England. Let's say hi.
Hey, Yvonne. How you doing?
Candice. You're gonna see Candice's face shortly. We're just trying to get our act together here a little bit, and then we'll bring everybody on. Jeff says fires are getting better. Thanks to the firefighters coming from all over the globe. Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty awesome. I just saw. I mean, I'm sure everybody's coming from everywhere, but I saw a bunch of firefighters from South Africa. So that's pretty cool that everybody is chipping in and helping out. Gore chiming in from San Francisco. Welcome. Hi, Jovi chiming in from New Jersey. Vintage Couture in South Florida. Wellness and Nature. Okay. Ohio, USA. Very cool. Okay, we gotta. I like this angle better. I like this lens better. Can't see Candice though. All right, so we got the team here. Gonna do a quick introduction. Donna says, please hit the like button as you join. You know it's going to be good. Thank you. Thank you for the positive anticipation. No, the restaurant mural isn't gone. We just had to adjust our setup. So it's like right here to my right. And it's there. That's because we had to accommodate everybody. Deborah, good evening to you as well. Rig coming in from Vegas. Good to see you. Okay, let's do this. Okay, like I said, we have the squad here, chipping in and out. We have the oh, there we go. The squad here today, and I guess we just can go around and everybody can introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Ramona. Yeah, that's it. This is our setup.
All right. Hi, everybody.
Closer. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Can they hear me?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So my name is Raman, and I am a cinematographer and editor at Trap Media, and yeah, that's about it for me.
You gotta tell 'em. Sorry, you gotta tell them where you're from and yeah.
I'm from Kingston, Jamaica, and what else? What? And I'm 30. Well, just turned 30. January. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so Lindian.
Hi everyone. My name is Celindian. I am a filmmaker and I am a producer for Thought Media. I am from St. Catherine, Jamaica, and I am 22 years old.
Tell them about your film
Oh,
and your recent nomination.
okay. So I have a film that I did 2 years ago in film school, and I entered it for the Student World Impact Film Festival, and it was nominated for the best short film. So I'm just gonna see how that goes.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey everyone, I am Candice, and hmm, what do I do at Throat Media? What do I do, Throat?
Pretty much everything.
So I am. I've been with Drop since September. Met some of you guys. Lucky was fortunate enough to meet some of you guys in November, and yeah, that's it. I'm from Old Aber, St. Catherine. That's close to Kingston. For those who don't know, and hopefully one day one of you guys or some of you guys will be living on that side, if not in Negro. On to the other one.
Hi guys, my name is Chad. I'm the guy who is sometimes mistaken as a bot in the chat. So I'm 29 years old, photographer and editor, and pizza enthusiast. That's it for me. Oh, and I'm from Westmoreland, Savamore.
You want to say something, Candice? Add something?
Oh, I'm 30, 31.
Yeah, we have a very young team here. I'm definitely the oldest by a good large margin, but that's okay. So I guess we could. You guys are okay starting off talking about the stock exchange? All right. So we are going to start talking about the stock exchange. And I know you got a fan, Candice. I know we have. I know we're going to be talking about dating in Jamaica, which we'll get to. But this is something that happened this week after we had decided the topic of today. So we just thought it was a good, something good to kind of talk about. Oh, this is a long article. I want to see if I can find a shorter one. All right, let's see. Okay, this is cool. All right, this one is on Loop Jamaica. Throwing it in the comments there, and it says JSC, and it's from June 7th. It says JSC sees volatility, profitable stocks fluctuate on mixed results. Jamaica Stock Exchange witnessed significant volatility as a mixed bag of stocks experienced fluctuations in their values on Tuesday. Among the top gainers, Caribbean Cream trading as Cremi surged by 25% following the release of positive results. However, the stock's year-to-date growth remains modest at 3.6%. Oh, this is very technical. We're not going to do this. This is very technical. Yeah. I don't want to go through a bunch of numbers. All right, we'll go with the longer one, but I think this more speaks to my point here. Okay, so we're switching it up. A Jamaican Observer, tumbling tickers, JSE lags broker industry in red as deal flow dries up. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, really, is because we've talked so much about the Jamaica Stock Exchange and how well it's been performing in the last few years, and it being awarded by Bloomberg, the top performing stock exchange in the world, either 2 years in a row or 2 years in very, very quick succession. So here you go. After enjoying 2 recent years as the best performing stock exchange index in the world, the Jamaica Stock Exchange is now among the worst performers in 2023, with trading values at about 2/5 of 2022 highs. According to countryeconomy.com, the Uzbekistan Composite Index is the best performing stock exchange in 2023, as it remains up to 79.5% year to date. This is in stark contrast to the Iceland Stock Exchange main index, ICE, which is down 10.54% and is the worst performing stock index in 2023. The JSE index closed Thursday at 329,000 points, a 7.3 year-to-date percent decline from 355,000 points at the start of the year, which makes it among the top 5 worst indices in 2023, as it's sandwiched between the KSW Kuwait Index and the ADX Abu Dhabi, which are down 6.47% and 8.16% respectively. The reduction in the JSE index is reflected in 30 companies on the main market being down up to the end of May, with 17 increasing so far, and Cygnus Credit Investments Limited remaining firm. The JSE index only saw $1.71 billion in valuation traded in May, which is 41% of the $4.15 billion traded in May 2022. If one goes back even to April, there was only 1.46 billion in value traded compared to 6.14 billion in April 2022. There is a 54% less value traded in the first 5 months of 2023 than that of 2022. I'm going to skip around here a little bit just to get the main. The higher interest rate environment also caused investors to demand higher required return for stock, which means companies' future cash flow were significantly discounted, lowering the valuation for most stocks. While the ongoing economic recovery augurs well for the sector, these gains have been weakened by headwinds impacting the operating and financial environment, said a recent NCB Capital Markets weekly guide on that of the financial sector stocks, which are largely down in 2023. And before even reading the article, like, that was one of my premonitions as to why the stock exchange has gone down, is because of these rising interest rates, and that is like affecting everybody. If you have a mortgage here, you felt this before we even read this. So, like I said, the article is pretty long, but that is pretty much the gist of it. And really wanted to, I guess, bring awareness to everybody on this channel. We're definitely gonna do a more in-depth discussion, but just wanted to bring everybody in the loop on it, and just to be aware of it. And that's just kind of like how investing goes, right? And we all know that there are ups and downs, and you just want to be as diversified as possible. And I know most people watching this have investments, not only maybe in Jamaica, but I'm sure a lot abroad, and hopefully even those investments that you have are diversified. Damian Redmond says, my problem with the JSE is too many service companies, not many companies that produce anything. I think that's a Jamaica problem. I mean, we talk about it here a lot, that we don't do a lot of manufacturing and a lot of exporting. And I think there's a tremendous opportunity with that. And it should, you always say one of the hindrance to that is the very expensive cost of utilities, not only electricity, but also even water. But we definitely would like to see more manufacturing and more exports happening here in Jamaica. So just wanted to touch on that. I don't know if anybody has anything to say about that. If not, we can move into other topics. No. Okay. I'm sweating just reading that. Okay, cool. Hello, Elka. Thanks for joining. All right, we'll probably get into that. We'll probably talk more about that next week. We want to do an in-depth discussion both on we'll talk about the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and then also talk about the rising interest rates, and specifically we want to focus on mortgages. We just released a video yesterday on basically a step-by-step guide on how to purchase a car in Jamaica and get through getting a car loan. And we featured a sales representative from ATL Automotive, and then we had a representative from NCB that does vehicle loans, auto loans. So that was pretty good. If you want to check it out, it's on the channel. We put it up yesterday. It's an expert from ThropX 2022. And yeah, it was very, very informative. And if you're even trying to just get a semblance of understanding what it takes to get a car loan in Jamaica, this is probably the video for you. I saw in the comments that a lot of people were upset, I guess is the word you can use, on how the process and the paperwork. But I would say it may be not the same process that you are used to, say, in the States, but that's the process down here. And it may be a little annoying to you and what you're used to, but it is what it is. I always say you want to adapt, and you want to adapt to how things are done here in Jamaica, and not be frustrated by it. I mean, there are thousands, tens of thousands, maybe probably hundreds of thousands of vehicles in Jamaica, and everybody had to go through that, and they were able to do it. And if they can do it, so can you. So learn about the process, as opposed to coming here and just showing up and walking into a dealership and then finding out, oh, this is what it takes, and then being frustrated and annoyed, or maybe just taken aback because you weren't aware. You can watch the video and get, again, a very good understanding of what it takes. All right, let's hop into some comments real quick, and then we will get into our discussion here. Hey, Claudette, thanks for chiming in. Jeff says, one must remember that the value of an exchange index does not mirror necessarily reflect an economy. For example, the value of the S&P is in only 6 stocks. Agreed. And in no way I would say, am I trying to equate how the JSE is doing to how Jamaica is doing financially. Jamaica is definitely more than the JSE in so many respects. Thank you for that comment, Jeff. Jovi says diversification is key. Most of my stocks are in companies that have a good products, future gains, Apple, Google, Amazon. Hello, Cheryl. Thanks for chiming in. Nice to see you. Daddy Adventure says, hey, mate, I really love what you're doing for Jamaica. Thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words and support. Jeff says, also, Jamaica's debt is nothing compared to the U.S. and other G7 countries. Yeah, if we want to talk about real dollars, oh my gosh, I can't even, not even close. Not even close. Haiti says, financial loss of funds due to employees who are taking it for themselves. No, I don't think that's why this is happening. I think this is, in terms of the stocks going down, I think, like the article is saying, it's in direct relation to the rising global interest rates. Hello, Mystical, chiming in from Brooklyn. Thanks for joining. Okay, let's bring the team in for a discussion. You guys ready? Okay, how are we going to start this off? Who wants to start the discussion? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's up to you. I can start it off and get us going, unless anybody has.
So a question that I have on my mind is like regarding the performance of the stock. You said the interest rates is affecting the market. What does that say about like human behavior? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, is that majority of the money invested in the Jamaican stock market? Is it Jamaicans who live in Jamaica? Is it people abroad? How is it affecting them? Why that's influencing their behavior?
Well, I don't know what percentage of the stock market is from investors abroad. I'm not sure. In terms of like the interest rates and how that's affecting behavior, I would say that when companies, so for example, right, a company, and I don't know this, I'm just speaking generally here. So like a company, most companies are leveraged somehow, so they're getting loans to either grow or to scale their company. And more than likely, they have had loans on their books that were maybe 5 years, 10 years, who knows, but longer in the past than they would have, not within the context of these rising interest rates. So there was no anticipation or thought, and generally speaking, that their interest rates would rise at the rate that they're rising at now. And so we say, why are these interest rates rising? And it is, the main reason is to combat inflation. And so even now we talk about, I think we talked maybe it was with some friends, we were talking about like how everything is just more expensive here globally in Jamaica, but also, in America as well. But that's due to inflation. So one of the monetary policies that pretty much every like free democratic country has is the ability to control their interest rate, their baseline interest rate. And so what that does, it makes money more expensive, and then so because money is more expensive, hopefully you'll get less loans. So it's a de-incentive to get loans. But if you already have a loan, it's going to make let's say if you have a mortgage, it's going to make your mortgage payments more expensive than you originally were when you initially signed it. So when it comes to the point of, like, again, I would say going back to the company example, and like even like when you see these like we talked about SVB Bank collapsing. You remember that? So when that bank collapsed, they didn't. I guess in a sense, it comes down to greed if when you talk about human behavior. And so they were basically, in a sense, over leveraged and didn't anticipate these rates going up. And so what happened is they had a run on the bank. So people who had, and companies who had their money in these banks, saw like these rates skyrocketing, and then they also went out and tried to get more money to stay alive. But it was just too much. Too many people, too many companies went for their money, and you had those banks collapse. And so, yeah, to answer your question directly, it's just too much risk.
Not to veer from the point, but like even as you mentioned the bank there, because I heard that I guess they were like probably going bankrupt, or they were bankrupt or something like that. But I'm assuming it's not, because there's another company that could buy them out, right? Another bank that could buy them out, which I'm assuming that means that that bank has assets that are probably not liquid. Is that the case, or is it just like what incentive would someone have to buy out a bank like that? That's bankrupt?
Sure. So there was I forget which companies exactly, but there were like Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, like these huge conglomerate banks. They all got together, and so the banking system doesn't collapse. They got together and they were like, we have to buy these banks so the country, the world doesn't lose confidence in the financial markets. And so that's all this is like, do you have confidence that when you put your money in the bank that it's going to be there? Do you have confidence that you put your money in the bank and you are in a bond that it promises you're going to get 3% in 5 years, that's going to happen? And once people in a population start losing confidence in their financial institutions, that's how you have financial collapse. And those individuals and companies who had money in those banks, they lost confidence in SVB, and so they pull their money back. I had a point. What was the question again?
Whether the bank going bankrupt, does it have assets that are not liquid?
Right. So the other thing too is that they get those clients, right? So when one bank takes over another bank, it has everybody who banks with the bank being taken over becomes the new bank's clients. And so now they are going to go to that banking institution for all different types of loans, and it's more opportunity for them to make money in the long run. So that's an incentive. But it's also, yeah, they're saving the banking system, these large banks, but it's not good because now there's less competition, and you don't want to have like 3-5 banks running the biggest economy in the entire world. The incentive for them to be more efficient and to be more competitive as far as rates go is just not there, and they become oligopolies. And I'm not gonna say that they're going to be some sort of collusion, but it's just it's not good for the consumer to have just a small set of these very, very large financial institutions. All right, we'll hop to the comments real quick. Peter V says, made small investments in the American stock market and lost my shirt and pants. Fortunately, I was wearing underwear. Glad to hear you made it out alive, Peter. Joey says, inflation is just companies stealing in front of us. Seema on the Move says, the SSL situation made me lose confidence. I was excited to start investing in JA stocks, and then SSL happened. Yeah, and I completely understand that. Like that, especially something so big. I get that, but I also would like to put that in context as well. When you think about these crazy situations also in the United States with corruption, with Ponzi schemes. I mean, they're at much larger scales, at scale than things are happening here in Jamaica. I mean, think of like the Bernie Madoffs of the world. Um, I mean, even like the global financial collapse of 2008, that was just, I mean, that was corruption in its own way. You know, that was corruption. That was just American greed, and it brought down the economies of many countries around the world. And that was they did these very predatory loans, and it ruined a lot of people's lives. So I completely understand where you're coming from, Seema, but I would also say that, I mean, there are worse things that have happened in America as well. I think why it's so shocking to us is that it happened in our country here in Jamaica, but then it also happened to somebody that everybody knows, right? And we're like, man, that if that could happen to him, that could happen to me, sort of thing. So I completely get it.
So, to Seema's point, right?
Mhm.
She wouldn't be the only one. Oh, thanks. She's not like the only one that feels this way, right? The SSL saga is one of the most publicized one of them all, but we've had a few that happened before and maybe after, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And then also with what's going on otherwise in Jamaica, like with the politicians, parliamentarians raise, and a recent study that was done by, I believe, the Gleaner, one of the news publications, that said the people have lost confidence in the government or the leaders pretty much, and say that they're the most corrupt. They've taken over from the police in terms of corruption level. Oh, the people's views, at least. Um, do you think that we're on a verge of a collapse, let's say, similar to what happened in the United States?
So you're saying people lost confidence in Jamaica particularly because of the increase in the salaries of the politicians? Is that what?
Not just that. So it's a string of things. So lost confidence in the financial institutions here, because with the SSL, not much. It hasn't been resolved completely, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of stuff similar to that saga hasn't been resolved completely. We've based on past events from the government or their behavior, people have slowly but surely lost confidence in them. And if the perspective of the uh, Jamaican populace is that they're more corrupt than the police force, it means that the people, one, have lost confidence in our financial institutions, two, lost trust in the leaders of the country. Do you think that leads to no? I'm thinking it could lead to a collapse of our economy at some point, if not soon. No?
I mean, I would say, like, and this is gonna sound bad. It's like, and this is kind of like a question. It's like who has the most money? Like who has the purse strings that would sway the country's economy one way or another? And I don't know this to be true, but I look at, like, say, in America, like the largest institutions the largest investors in the American stock exchange are institutions, and it's just like large, just financial institutions that are really the whales that are swaying the market this way or that way. And it would have to be like the whole country, I would say, is just like, okay, I'm pulling my money out. All right, like I have no confidence for the market to swing that way. Like, kind of bringing it back to Jamaica, I'm kind of putting my mindset in the same or at least my thinking, I'm putting it under the same umbrella, in the sense that and I don't know the answer to this question. And to Chad's question earlier, is like, who are the larger investors in Jamaica? Is it investor in the Jamaica Stock Exchange, for example? So is it people in Jamaica? Is it foreigners who are investing? I would assume it's mostly Jamaicans investing in Jamaica Stock Exchange. That's my assumption. But it's a good question. What is the makeup of, like, institutional investments in the Jamaican stock market? Like, how much are we? We talked about the volume of trading earlier and how it's gone down tremendously and how things have dried up. But Do I personally think like it's on the brink of collapse? I don't think so. And the reason why I say that is because I still, as far as I know, there's still a lot of investment coming into Jamaica outside of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And that's why I said, like, Jamaica's economy is more than Jamaica Stock Exchange. And it's also would be a good question to know is like what percentage of the Jamaica populace is invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. I would guess it's a very small percentage. And when I say very small, I would guess less than 30%. I could be way off on that. I could be way off on that. And I'm just getting it from just I would say the the channel and just the conversations that I've had, and also when you look at so in America, when you look at the stock market and also why it's so tied in, is that many benefit packages in corporate America are directly tied to the stock exchange, uh, the the various stock exchanges in the United States. Whereas I don't know that to be true here. And you guys could correct me on that as well. Is just like, do you get is it normal to get compensation packages working for a company that you get invested in, like blue chip stock? Well, I don't know if they're blue chip stocks in Jamaica, but that sort of thing. I just don't know the answer to that.
I don't. If there is, it's not common.
There's some companies, but I think generally they're. Well, I'm not sure of what the stats are on this comment exactly, but I would say there's maybe a few big companies that are on the stock exchange, which not most companies in Jamaica are on the stock exchange. So,
I was more so saying, so like, say you work for a company like say Throt Media. We obviously don't do that, but if you come work for Throt Media, and like part of the incentive for working with us is that we have like a pension package, and that part of the pension package that we have, you get to choose like a list of what I'm just trying to equivocate this to in the US. Like you can choose how risky that you want to invest, and a percentage of a percentage of your paycheck goes towards investing in the stock exchange, and then a percentage of the employer would match that whatever that you invest. So that's what they do in the US, and that's a benefit that you get at many companies. So it's there. So even if you, generally speaking, so even if you in the US aren't investing as an individual, you have a vested interest in it because your company gives you that as a benefit. So your money stays in the system and stays in the stock market. So even if you move on from that company, that money that you've invested, that they've taken out your paycheck, you continue to get, hopefully interest, and hopefully it's going up as time goes on, because when you look at the long term of the stock market in the United States, like it all goes up, has a positive trajectory when you look at like 10, 20 years out. So what the hope is that when you're ready to retire, because you've invested all these years, you have this money being taken out your paycheck, that you have a lump sum of money that you can use to as part of your retirement. So I guess my point in bringing that up is like, I don't think that level of incentive is aligned here in Jamaica with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, where if if something were to happen in the stock market, like people would be like that directly affected, their retirement and all of that would be tied into that.
so like something like a 401k equivalent in Jamaica.
Precisely, exactly. Let's go back to the comments real quick. It says, Miss Perfectly Imperfect, yes, 0 to low confidence. Seema on the Move says, the government response so far to SSL has been disappointing, and the response has made me lose confidence in the safety of putting my money in the financial system. Fair enough, fair enough. Inga Baby says, hello from Orlando, and happy Sunday to Throp and Throppers. Happy Sunday, Inga. Virtual Design Studio, Eureka. Hey, Eureka. Yes, Throp, you are right. There is a lot of institutional investment in the stock market, and yes, it is a small percent of the population that is actually invested in it and or even have general know-how. Yep, I figured. Yeah, Inga Baby's 401k is exactly what I'm talking about. Daddy Ventures says that's what happens in the United Kingdom now with the workplace pension. Yeah, I think we're all singing the same song here in terms of this understanding. Okay. Anything else on that? Anybody? Nothing from this side of the table?
This conversation is out of my pay grade.
All right, let's take it to something in your pay grade.
What is that now?
All right. So the main topic we're going to talk about today, and this is Rika came up with this, which I thought this was fine, and everybody agreed to it. Is talking about dating in Jamaica, and we were talking about it last night in many different respects. We didn't get too much into it, but it's just kind of hearing everybody's perspective off camera was interesting. So you guys that I didn't understand either, so that was kind of cool. So I don't know, Ramon, you want to kick us off?
Well, first thing, well, what I can say is I don't really think Jamaica participate in dating. You're just there. So once you're talking to somebody, you're just there. That's what I think.
So I didn't understand this concept. That you're not like so in America, like you would meet somebody at a bar, dating app, whatever it is, and then you would go on a series of date, feel each other out, see if there's
No courting.
There's no courting.
No courting, yeah.
So then how do you know that, like, when does that switch go from we're just friends to we're boyfriend and girlfriend?
Let's see. I don't know, like from the first conversation.
Just all of a sudden, everyone refers to you as that guy's girlfriend or that girl's boyfriend.
Once they look too close to each other.
Yeah, or if I see him looking at another girl or trying to talk, I'm just like, yo, what's happening? Hold on. Then you're my boyfriend. And if he starts having a problem with like me talking to another guy, then I know, okay, I'm his girlfriend. Like there's no, like in America or other cultures, you have that, okay, this is day one of the relationship, or the person the person formally asks you to be his or her partner. That is not a common practice here, unfortunately.
It happened though. It happened, but not a lot.
Not a lot, sadly. And you don't get courted as one of you guys had said. So you don't get to go out on dates and have those little tingly feelings and learn about
go
each
on
other.
dates, we'll go on dates, but it's just that we don't, the conversation don't come up for say we're now together.
You bring girls on dates? You bring girls? Well, before, so he's married. So before you officially committed to your wife, you went out on dates?
Yeah.
You brought her out on dates?
Of course.
Okay, good.
You have to date.
But that's the thing.
It's not in Jamaica. It's not classified as dating and just there.
Yeah, because you're already there together. Yeah, you're already there. Yeah.
So even if you don't start talk to the person like officially, once you end them a talk on it there.
But then that's the thing. So like, without getting in specifics, right? So I meet a guy, right? And then I'm like, oh, he's nice, he's cute, or whatever. And I try to get to know him. But then I meet another guy. And then I'm like, oh, he's cute. And I want to get to know him, see which one I like, right? But then the first guy thinks we're together and we're not together.
And the second guy thinks you're together as well.
We're not together. We're in the get to know you stage, the courting stage. Figure out if that guy meets a girl and like her and wants to get to know. But then the difference is you gotta make everybody know that, you're actually in the get to know you. Not even a dating stage per se, I guess. We're trying to feel out if I do wanna go on dates with this person. Because I don't wanna go out officially on a date with someone and then I regret it instantly when you're on the date. So that's what I mean, like the get to know you, like the talking.
Mhm.
Who are you as a person?
Well, like for instance, like when I started talking to my wife, when I started talking to my wife, even now, up until now, she's still upset that we never go through boyfriend and girlfriend stage. So we never we just go straight to marriage. Yeah. I've never asked her to be my girlfriend.
Oh, we on top of the
Yeah.
mic.
Define talking. Is it just talking or the
All right, so you see the same way how you would court someone. It's basically the same thing, but just have a different meaning.
So give me the meaning.
You're talking.
Talking.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right, so you're not talking about work. You're not talking about friendship. You're talking about how you would see
Your life
yourself with that.
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So you're talking about having that conversation. Okay.
So Africa, well, not Africa. I call different name. Sorry, still Indian.
Yeah, Harika,
she's
put your
on.
comments.
She's in the chat. She should have been here. So Celine, like, what is your experience in dating?
What experience? In what? I am not informed on that topic. I cannot comment. Ah, I have never dated ever in my life, so therefore, yeah, I cannot speak on that topic.
You're still young,
Yes, I am
Yeah.
very young.
22.
Very young.
Anybody else would want to?
I have not much to say, but what I will say is I think that everybody should court. I think that should be a thing that we bring back. Um,
You said that we bring back.
yeah, I think people used to court more so, but I don't think like it's so much of a thing these days.
And can you define courting?
Like getting to know the person, like just going out, even if you're just going out with friends, not just the two of you together alone, but just like I think a lot of people who are, I think, well, I guess you could say maybe the regular or normal way a lot of people get in relationships is they know each other and have a lot of experience with each other. They know that they've developed enough experience of each other to say, oh, this is someone who I'd want to be around long term, and then they end up going into a relationship. I think it has been like that. Like that's normal. I think most people know that that's how a lot of people get into relationships. But I think like now we're in this kind of rapid or just get to meet somebody, hook up, and it's a lot more fast paced now. So that's what I mean by we should bring back courting. That's my view. So I don't really. I'm kind of against the context of dating today. I think draws a certain kind of understanding, which when if said maybe a few years back would have been a different understanding of what it means today. So which I'm not quite aligned with today's definition of dating. So
Can you define both? Like what was dating like before that you're
I know.
referencing? What is it now? Yeah.
I think people would, if you're dating, um no, people kind of have the idea that you might be sexually active with the person. That kind of falls in the context of dating today. While dating in the past used to be, oh, I'm getting to know this person. I think that's the main difference.
I think no. If there's no sex, then you're not together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of my understanding of it as well.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
I don't think that's true because I know people who date. Oh, I can't know if they're okay. Yeah, I wouldn't know that, but at least they're showing like they don't. These are Christian people, so I have to believe that they're not. it doesn't have to be. It can be just like normal, like back in the day, Chad. Not everybody is taking it to
I'm
me.
old school. I admit that.
What?
I am old school. I admit that.
Okay.
But like when I say when I say like if you're not having sex and you're not together, it's not necessarily that persons are living up to that, but that's what people would say. Like some people would say like in nowadays.
A part of the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't feel that. I don't feel that way. Like people are together regardless. Like if you're dating, you're getting to know each other. You're like forming that relationship. You're thinking about being married. You know,
So tell me now, how you know all of these things if you have never dated before?
Ramon. I don't have to have first-hand experience to not observe things. So it doesn't even have to be like real life. It can be TV, it can be movies, it can be real life. Like I'm very observant, even though I don't have first-hand experience. Do you have another question for me?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
But it's not to say that in Jamaica we don't have what we all know, generally speak, as or similar to what Chad said, dating culture. It's here. I've been on dates with Jamaican men, so it's not like it's non-existent, right? I personally speaking wish it was more of a general thing. I think a lot of it's a family channel,
No, no, no. Say what you gotta say.
a lot of things would have been avoided in our society if there was a
No.
Oh, internet
if
network.
there was a dating culture like there was back in the day, or that we're all speaking of right now, where you get to know the person, figure out if this person's values aligns with your values, and if push come to shove and you're stuck together for a minimum of 18 years, then it's okay, you know, in case.
Well, yeah. What do you mean by that?
Because okay, in case in the to Chad's point, where where in society, a portion of our people think that if you're dating someone or in the dating stage with someone that you're sexually active, right? Not necessarily the case, but if we had the opportunity to get to know someone, like it was generally speaking, like that was the standard to get to know somebody before you get to that stage, we wouldn't have a lot of fatherless kids out there. We wouldn't have, that's what I mean. The 18 years you stick together, and then you wouldn't have a lot of kids coming out angry because their parents aren't they're not even friends. They can't get along with each other. They can't be in the same room without arguing or something happening. That's what I was alluding to.
Or like one parent, they grow up with one parent, and the other one they know they exist, but they're just never there.
Sorry, we're gonna switch internet connections real quick. One sec. We might jump in and out. Okay. All right. We're back. Hopefully, this is a little bit better. You were saying that we hopped. It was not so good connection. Hopefully, that's okay. Okay. Yeah. You're gonna say something,
Oh
Ramon?
yeah, I was about to say that. To me, I feel like why the dating thing is really on a decline as well too. Like people are not being honest, like to themselves and to who they're trying to get with in the initial stage, and that conversation is not being.
Yeah. I was also gonna say, like, so even Chat's point about, or everybody was saying about the assumption is like if you're in order to be dating in this modern world that the assumption is that you're sexually active with each other. But I think that precedent is have to be set by you or the individual. Like you set that, whatever that is, and to me, you're going to attract that, and then you're going to detract people that you are not, that don't fall in line with your values and what you're looking for. But to Ramon's point, I also think that a level of transparency about intentions are not there, and I think that's what also makes it complicated. And also, to your point, Candice, about having fatherless families and fatherless children, it's just not having that understanding. And I have a lot of thoughts on this, but we could take it so many different ways. But I like your point where you're saying about just like being transparent about intentions and what you want to do. Also, even who you are, what you're about, your life goals. Like, are you looking to be a father, a mother, a family person, and is that what you're trying to achieve?
A lot of people really wanted just the sex, but they sell a story in the initial stage, get the person all hyped up thinking that it's going to be forever, and then once they get the sex, then gone out the door.
It's very immature, honestly, very very immature. I have a comment here from Rika. She says, however, today, what's being normalized is encouraging getting to know multiple persons at once and then decide on the best person for you, which is different from the deck culture. Hold on. She also says the dating culture that's not so present here, the way it is in other societies, is the idea that we have to go out. A lot of spending is associated with it.
That's true. You don't have to spend a lot of money to go on dates.
Mm-mm. Nope. Don't.
I don't know.
Ramon, what was the first place you carried your wife on a date? What was the first place that you carried your wife on a date?
The first place. All right. So our first date was at her house, and I told her that I would cook curried shrimp and rice for her and thing. So that was the first thing going. And she actually come into the kitchen and helped me cook the food. So that's when I said, all right, this is going to be my wife.
That's good. This kind of goes back to what I said. I don't know. I think I said it multiple times about Jamaican men being able to cook. I can cook a little bit, but like definitely not like you guys. Probably definitely not like you, Ramon.
There's something I want to comment on, like as Candice was saying about the how the dating culture affects um the families in Jamaica, the families that end up in Jamaica. The lack of a proper family structure for most, or well, many kids. And I think that's one of the most important points to look at. Because I think that's the importance of the whole courting structure. I think that's where it comes into play the most, because dating somebody, getting to know someone, finding the affinity that you have with them, um, I believe the purpose of it is for that good structure that it builds for you guys being candidates for a child. And when you remove that and you make it like you include sex in it before finding out these things, then I think that's kind of for a lot of people it leads to the end result, that just that having the overarching culture being like, well, I'm in a relationship with this person, I'm having sex with them, so I'm in a relationship with them, and then end up having a child, and then you find out that all the other aspects that you should have prioritized to see if you guys do have that affinity, if you guys are prepared mentally for something like that, to raise a child, you've foregone all of that and put sex before that whole process. And I think that is like, there's many words you can use to describe it, but it's really, really irresponsible. Irresponsible, and I don't think people view it as that. I think that the general view of things, I like even having this view. I think a lot of people in society, I look at it and say like, oh, well, you don't believe in this or that and so on, and maybe even might um, just a mature adult perspective. I don't I don't see how like why you would want to criticize such a thing, because I think like it in the end it benefits.
Good question. We'll get that in. Sorry about that, everyone. We had to switch internet connections real quick. All right, so you want to ask your continue your thought, Chad?
I think I was saying
There we go. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think most people know that it's irresponsible to go about it that way.
And when you say irresponsible, you're saying having sex in the relationship before marriage.
I guess, yeah, you could say that as well. Yeah, yeah. Which I guess then a lot of people would be like, "Whoa, like what?" So yeah, we'd have to wait till marriage or so on. Or, but I mean, like even I think even if you were courting the person, if you put courting as a priority
Mm-hmm.
instead of having a relationship with the person, having sex with the person, and you put courting as the priority, I think that would weed out a lot of the people who you would have had sex with.
For me though, like all right. For me though, like all right. Wait until marriage. Yes, that's all good and everything. But suppose after marriage, the first time is not so good. You divorce? Work
What?
on what?
Where are you going to draw that experience from
Yeah.
to get better? How are you going to?
Yeah. That's my thing. Like, oh,
So I think what Chad is trying to say is sex clothes things. It clothes your perspective. Like during that, I think it helps to prolong the honeymoon stage. So especially if you're compatible in that sense, but you're not compatible in the relationship sense, it allows you, or it will make you overlook a lot of red flags because it's good in that stage. So correct me if I'm wrong. He's saying like if you prioritize getting to know this person and then put on the second step or the back seat, that aspect of the relationship, then you can get there eventually, but not before finding out if you and this person is compatible.
no, I agree. I agree. So you can go through the courting stage and all of that. But what I'm saying is you have to have the sex part before marriage.
Not have to.
Can I say
Have to.
something? No, like y'all are saying that, where are you gonna draw that experience from? But at some point, you're going to like have your first time, right? At some point, you're gonna have your first time. So even if your first time is with the person you are married to, like, can't y'all two work out whatever and make it better for y'all too?
Not necessarily.
Nah,
Let,
no.
let, 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 all right, all right, all right. This is a good example. All right, let's say it's probably a bit out of it though. But
Mhm.
let's say for instance, it's not the right fit. Yeah, can't change that. So you'd be in a very miserable marriage. Yeah.
I would say that is not the norm. Like,
It is.
no, I
Well,
don't. I wouldn't.
no,
I,
no.
It is.
no, what I'm saying is, I think
You
the
have.
let's say like this, the logistics
Mm-hmm.
of the act.
Mm-hmm.
I think for most people, like, it's not a case where there's such broad variation that majority of the population wouldn't be fit compatible
Mm-hmm.
sexually with their partner.
What?
All right. So
What?
Wait, repeat that.
What?
go again. Go
Yeah,
again.
no, I know what he's saying,
No,
but
I'm
it
saying
just there's not a lot of logic. But go ahead.
No, I need you to repeat it.
Well, maybe you guys have so much more experience than I do. So, but what I'm saying is, if if you were to marry a person,
Uh-huh.
and however it is that whatever the experience is sexually, I think a part of the problem is people are trying to compare their experiences with the experiences of other people's sexual experience.
That is one. That is one. But I think all right. So if we go back in time, it was easier back then because everybody
I
was
agree.
virgin. Everybody was a virgin back then. So so the first time would be good or amazing in that sense. But no, you have a lot of right now you can't really even ask a girl what her body count is. And most men don't even want to know about it either. So so in that sense, I would say I have to look if I find the right fit, regardless of the gender.
I think people put too much priority on like I think people used to watching porn and so on. That set their expectation of what.
Yeah, it done gone bad already.
yeah, yeah. Well, is that a word that's
Yeah, go. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think people used to that, and that has become a norm, a social norm for lots of people, and I think that helps set people's expectation of what to expect from sex, and I think that is a bad um format or a bad let's use format of what to expect
I agree.
from a sexual relationship with your partner. I think there's is multifaceted, like the prioritizing sex too soon into a relationship, and also what to expect from the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll say like with that, I'm in Ramon's camp with this, and it's just like we also got to understand where we're humans. We have instincts, and we have just raw animalistic tendencies intrinsic that we're just all born with. And if you think about it, it's the societal bumpers, if you will, that keep us in line and teach us these different morals and different things of how we interact and with other humans and other people around us, and then even bringing that same mindset into dating and courting. And we got to remember, like back in the day, in the Neanderthal day, we would just take a bat, hit a woman, and that's my possession, and that's my woman, and that's we're gonna build a family.
Mm-hmm.
That is all within us,
Mm-hmm.
even now to this day. Like if we just, were like a Lord of the Fly situation, we didn't have rules, we didn't have government. Like that's what we would do. We would have these animalistic traits, and so I believe that. I mean, I think intimacy and sex is very much an important part of a relationship. I think it's an important aspect of it from a longevity perspective.
Along with
And
finance.
yes, yes. I
Along with
mean, I
finance.
put them both almost equal.
Mhm.
And when we think about relationships, and particularly relationships that fail as it relates to infidelity, to me it's like so important to like, as I think we were talking yesterday about like why the other day about like why relationships fail. Oh, it's Chad and Celindian. We're talking about like why relationships and marriages fail, and like one of the main reasons is finance, but it also comes down to transparency. And when it comes to like being intimate with your partner, I think it's also important you're transparent about that and communicative about that, and like talking about that, like your likes, your dislikes, your expectations. And if you just don't have that experience with your partner, and like if you're intimate with somebody after marriage, like even just dating, and it's just like terrible, and you're just like totally, I mean, you could just be totally turned off by that
Yeah.
person, like completely. And I couldn't imagine going through that experience and like having signed a contract and being married, and this is like, man, this is it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I didn't test the waters.
Which is why the term did even come up, saying that if you don't have sex with the person, you're not together.
But that's the whole thing, right? You have to consummate your marriage just the same, right? Back in the day, I think they said if you didn't do it, you technically didn't. You're not
Yeah,
married.
but that's after you're married.
Yeah, but to push back on what you're saying, I feel like even saying a statement like that, you to like marry the person and then realize that you're not like you're completely turned off by them and so on. I
Because
feel like
you're-
that statement is the
because you're
same
not
statement as like
compatible.
saying to say like um if I walked on the street and got hit by a car and I can no longer walk. It could happen, but I don't think that is how humans behave. I think if you meet someone and you find her attractive and her personality aligns with what you're looking for, I think to say then if you marry her and then all of a sudden you're not attracted to her sexually, I don't think that really is the case.
It
Not,
is plus it work both ways as well, because like, let's say for a woman,
you believe that that is the general case.
100%.
let's say for
100%.
let's say for a woman, all right, so all
I
right,
can't see it.
all right, put men aside then, put men aside. A woman, a woman, she get married to her husband and everything, and sexually she's no longer attracted to him because he's not pleasuring her the way or she would like him to pleasure her.
To me, that does sounds like
She would be in the marriage still, but guess what? That would lead to infidelity.
She's gonna leave
that
you.
to me just sounds
She's
like
gonna leave you.
She's going to leave.
So
No, she's going to
Some-
stay. So in some cases, but
some cases the female will stay, especially if there's an emotional connection with the person.
stepped out, which
Oh,
is
what-
why you have the man will pay the rent and the man with the shopping and the
But that's one portion of females. You have the
Mhm.
other portion that will stay and be faithful in that sense, but emotionally disconnect. Not emotionally, but in that intimacy, that section of the marriage will be completely gone. Like there's, as you someone mentioned before, we talked about, there'll be no
attraction.
yes, thank you for bringing it. There'll be no attraction. Like, and if I'm not attracted to a guy, why would I want to even?
Which would
Right?
in
You're gonna
return
repulse
which would also mean that the relationship done.
Not necessarily. I'll be
It's
there.
done.
You know that, but then
You're
that's where
there, but you're not there.
no, but I'll be okay. Say you're in a relationship, but there's no intimacy going on. That part, it's where okay. So technically, you become like friends. You become like friends,
It's
and
done.
no, but you're not
No,
going for
it's
someone
done.
else.
It is like it would be like, all right. Most females are, maybe all of them, leave the relationship before,
Mentally.
mentally before leaving the relationship. So them check out mentally.
Yeah, but
It
I
done.
mean,
There's nothing what the man can do to change it.
but
like I hear what you guys are saying, and it's like, what is the purpose of being with somebody at all? If if I am with somebody, if I'm with a female and I no longer find her attractive sexually at this particular moment,
Mhm.
and I would be willing to go find another woman to say done this or then. What is so to me? It's like in that statement to me it's as if there's no such concept as loyalty. There's no such concept of love. There's no such concept of I don't. You're not gonna try with the person to see if you can rekindle the flame. There's nothing to any sexual connection between or any kind of
The
relationship connection between you and the person.
all right, the
That's kind of
big
what the argument is assuming when you say
no, the big part of that is, remember, one person can want to rekindle the flame, but if the other person,
yeah, no, can. But what I'm saying is, all right, what the question I think I should ask is, should love be a prerequisite of being in a relationship with a person? Is there some standard that by committing to this person, and I think that's why even these little standards that we used to do, we used to court and so on, are so important because I feel like they have no ground in today's dating marketplace. I feel like you'll get together with the person, you'll have sex with the person, and as soon as your emotion changes in this moment, you'll go and find a different partner, which I don't think is a good model for a long-term relationship with anybody. Not especially considering the risk involved when you consider that a man has to work and build himself, and if she changes her mind and decides to leave the relationship, she can then take half your belongings. I feel like the whole concept of it.
that's with the marriage.
No,
That,
potentially.
that's with the marriage.
Yeah, well, if same bill. Okay, perfect, perfect.
That,
But
that,
I'm
that
saying
that's with
if that is
marriage.
for the men as well, if
Mhm.
that is for the men as well, right? It's still not. I'm sure none of all of us could agree that it's still not. I don't think any of us are looking for that in a relationship.
Well, for me, like for me, in that sense, it's because I build from growing up with my wife. If my wife should get half, that's fine. She deserve it. But when you build yourself up by yourself and then get married to somebody who emotions just change and then leave,
I understand, but I'm saying it's not.
that's
It's not. It's not even about the monetary part for me.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is, like, would you even want to have married her if it would have ended in divorce?
No.
Like, what's the point of the whole process? Like, what is the standard that we should be following? Because to me, I'm feeling like we're foregoing something here by assuming that if we are with this person and they no longer find us sexually attractive, then moving on to our next person is a common thing that we should accept.
No, no,
No,
no.
we're
We're
not
not saying
saying
that.
we're not saying to accept it, That's not what we're saying. Yeah.
I agree that's what's happening, but I don't agree with what's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, can't hear you.
Yeah.
That's it.
What did I say again? Oh yeah, we don't necessarily agree with what's happening, but we're stating what's happening in Jamaica. But we're just shedding light on it.
Yeah. But it's also, I mean, that is what's happening, like in terms of
I think it's happening globally too as well.
yeah, yes, that is, yeah, I can definitely say that that's happening in America. But I think it's like also going. I think like the underlying, like how we started going down this road is just like the importance of intimacy in a relation, in a healthy relationship. It's not everything, but it's a big part of the relationship at the end of the day. And I mean, and I think also it's just like it's like what and who's gonna make you happy. Some people maybe put being intimate like not even in their top five in a relationship. That's got to be like 1, 2 for me, like for sure. And
Yeah.
it's just like if that's not there, it's just like how are we going to like spend the rest of our lives together? How are we going to build a family? And then you also, I mean, just thinking about human nature, instinct, everything that I just talked about earlier is just like, I don't want to get a divorce. I don't want to leave, like even think about that or even going outside of that. And so then the same thing for my wife and for my significant other, my partner, like also like their happiness, their intimate happiness is very important to me, and it's very important that they are satisfied and that they are happy with what we have. And this is like, if they are not, in my mind, just like we said, if they are not happy in that sense, they're gonna look for that somewhere else. 100%, they're gonna look for that somewhere else.
To me, that's like a very repulsive concept. Like,
It's
like,
not.
I don't think that's something that I would ever consider. I would rather not commit to a person who that would be something they would consider.
But you don't know that. I mean, what my point is, it's like you don't know that and would never know that, and that person that you never know because you've never been intimate together with each other. You don't know that.
So you won't know until after.
Right.
Is that acceptable?
It's not about
it's not about acceptance.
Right. It's not about acceptability. It's about what is the reality of what's going to happen when that occurs. It's not for you to accept.
So you and the girl can be together and happy and good. Everything is high and mild and nice. But the moment that part come in play, and it's not worse if she have sex before, and then it's not up to the standard of what she's expecting, that's going to change things.
What's your definition of intimacy?
They're different types.
Yeah, but what is your definition? Because you're talking about if you're not being intimate with the person, but what do you mean?
Sex.
But you know, but you know, but you know, there are different types.
Yeah.
And in the current culture in Jamaica, I would believe it's not. There's no connection. Well, generally speaking, or this is my assumption, in the meet you, do it, leave culture. I believe there's no real connection. You're just trying to satisfy an urge. And I think that's what repulses Chad.
Yeah.
But I think I would like to assume what we're saying is we prefer the one where you get to know each other, you build a relationship, you build a level of connection that helps to build the intimacy to go towards a physical intimacy.
No,
later
and
on.
we agree with that 100%. You know, we're just saying that the sex part would have to come before the marriage.
Well, we are also a family channel, and we are and we are Christians. So for anyone out there, please wait if you have been waiting.
I mean, like I said before, it comes down to like the individual and the expectation. I also think that as we go through life, we go through different seasons and we go through different just mentalities, and we're in different growth stages, and some people just might not be ready for marriage and for a real relationship, and some people will just have to go through a phase of experimenting. And you may do that when you're younger. You may be you may be in a relationship from when you're 18 years old, and then you turn 25. You're just like, what am I doing? You have curiosity and you want to see what's out there, and you just realize that my world is bigger than the grill. The world is bigger than the grill, right? And then you go out there and you start experiencing different things, and you're still maturing and you're still growing. And maybe when you get to your mid 30s and you realize and can appreciate what a good partner is, because you have that experience and you know what you're looking for and you know what you're not looking for, and you could differentiate between the two. And I also think you may be at that point where you can be that much better of a partner because you have personal growth, you have life experience, and you have experience to also help grow your family as well. Is there something I should bring up here? Yeah, we could.
There was Avrika.
Oh yeah, Havrika. What'd she say?
Intimacy is more than just sex.
Yeah, I agree with that. Havrika saying you can have intimacy without sex. I agree. I mean, and you need and it's not, and I think Ramon's agreeing with me, is this is like, it's not just about the sex either. I mean, there's just so much more that goes into that, but just I'm trying not to go. A lot that goes into it. I'll say that.
Yeah, so it's not just about sex. It's just that sex does have to be in the list as well.
What I will say is like, because I know that that's what people generally believe. That's the assumption we're making here. But if you are with someone who you're not even considering as an intimate partner, but they're a good friend to you, you would normally enjoy their company, even above the company of others, right?
But we're not talking about friendships.
I know. I'm just using an illustration. I'm
Okay.
saying we could chalk it up to just the relationship that you have with them, and you could enjoy their company. You could value their what they bring as a person so much that being around them is more important to you than certain things. Why is it that once we bring the idea of sex in the picture, that we would replace the person if they're not fulfilling those needs? I think it's because that is what we're prioritizing, just the sexual experience.
No. It is a priority.
Yeah.
You know, it
No,
is.
I'm not
the
going to-
priority,
I'm not-
but
what
a
I'm
priority.
not saying that it is not a priority,
Mhm.
but it feels kind of degrading in a way. Like, I don't know, like, and we were talking about this, like using the idea of your daughter, because we tend to think about things differently when we're just thinking about a sexual partner. But if, say, you have a daughter and she was, say, courting somebody, would you, what are the things that you would find acceptable for your daughter? Would it be a case where um she meets this guy and they're gonna hook up and have sex and so on, and then that fails and she moves on to another partner, and then what is it that you would want for her from a perspective of love that you have for your daughter? Would you look at her more respectfully as a woman if she made the decision to court somebody, see if they're the right person? It's not even the concept that they would have sex. It's the concept that, is she doing it the right way? And if she's not, then it in your mind, I think that it kind of degrades her. She's putting herself through a degrading experience, right?
All right, so
No, do you disagree?
I would say
No,
would
state it if you
No,
do disagree.
I'll let Ramon.
no. You
respond
go
first.
ahead. You go ahead first.
I mean, I'm kind of going to say the
And
same.
even for the males as well, I do think it's a degrading experience. Even though we view things differently, because men would like kind of like, yeah, it's a double standard there. But I still do think, to an extent, it is a degrading experience for males if it's the wrong person.
I mean, I think it comes down to like, your personal preference. And like my view is just like, people should do whatever makes them happy. And like that should be the priority here. And I'm not here to judge what makes people happy. And I always say, and I get this from my aunties, like, your happiness is your responsibility. And I am not necessarily going to tell somebody that they shouldn't have sex or they should have sex or whatever because I find it degrading or that may not be my belief. And it could even be somebody, if like maybe being with a dude being with another dude, a woman being with another woman, and if that makes them happy, do you. That has nothing to do with me. Like, I'm going to do what makes myself happy and within the context of my values and my morals. And I'm not going to step outside of those boundaries. And I'm not going to allow, whether it's an outside institution, an outside person, to dictate to me what I should be doing based on what they think. Because otherwise, who am I living for? And I should be living for myself, and I am living for myself, and I am going to be living for what makes me happy. And so I feel like people should do the same thing as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else or doesn't hold anybody back, that sort of thing. And that's kind of my view. As far as like it goes with the example that you were saying with my daughter, my like I hope and my assumption that even if I have a son, that I would raise them to have sense and to make and I spend enough time as a father to pass on
The
the
morals
morals
and
from
yeah.
my parents and my
Mhm.
grandparents, and they learn it, and they are able to make their own decisions,
Yeah.
and the right decisions. Eventually they're going to be their own person.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna accept my children for who they are, and no
And it's
matter
not
what it is.
everything. It's not everything what them do. You gotta agree with,
Of course.
but you can't really do nothing about it. You can tell them say I don't like that, but if them are gonna do it, them are gonna do it.
I agree completely as well. However, I feel that, like, of course, I think that they're both not one and the same. I don't think by saying that these are good morals and these are things that are generally good, that by like I'm trying to force it upon anyone or so on. I'm thinking that there is a general like, for instance, if we were to say I say stealing makes me happy, and I go about, I just steal and so on. I can do whatever I want to do. I have free will, but I don't think that's how society should, like, that should be our general understanding of how we go about doing things. I think we should have some
No, but
ingrained morals.
you'll go to jail if you steal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not gonna.
Yeah.
You're not
So
gonna
we're
go to.
so we're not saying that because you like to steal, we're gonna allow you to steal. You're gonna go prison.
what I'm saying is, yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, it is the conclusion that once it makes me happy and the government is not going to persecute me, that I should do it. If it what if I'm saying that there's something that could be to your benefit or to the benefit of society at large, would it be okay to discuss it as being a good moral?
It's this is
And it,
a large fallacy in that argument, because there's different cultures, there's different mindsets, right?
Mhm.
And so, good example, we have hedonism up the beach. People like to be naked and enjoy nudity. There's nudist cultures. Are we going to judge them and say like, hey, that's morally wrong? That's them.
Mhm.
Stay up there, do your thing, no problem. We have the Mormon church where you can have multiple wives. Who are we to say that that is immoral? That they shouldn't be doing that. Their religion is that belief. There are cultures in Africa where you could have an unlimited amount of wives. Who are we to
Once you
say
can afford them.
once you can afford them? Who are we to say and judge that that is wrong, that that is immoral, that is against the general good of the world? And there's so many more examples in the globe for us to to use and say here, and to generalize that and say and point a finger at them. It's just like, no, that's their thing. Like, allow them to be happy. That's the way they were born and raised, and that's their culture. Same thing with the Islamic culture. People are. I mean, maybe I shouldn't get into that, but like there's a lot of controversy of saying like, I'll just leave it at that.
Mhm.
But to your point, Winthrop, is the same way their culture is different to us. We might think, some people might think, oh, that's wrong because that's not what we're used to, because it's different. It's the same way it could be turned back on us, where they could look at the Jamaican culture and say that's wrong because it's different and they don't know it and they're not used to it. Not to say that anything it's wrong or it's right or whatever. It's just what it is. It's a culture. People do it, but it's just what you're not used to it. It's just a matter of understanding first.
um, but then where do we draw the line, or should there be no line
Who's we to, and who are we to draw any line?
as a society? Does anyone, is this a case where, like, how, like, because if everyone is going to have the approach that, because you're saying it is a place from judgment or is a place from that or this, right? But we normally come up with things that are generally understood, and we assume that the human experience has some common thread, that is not just, oh, because you're from the next side of the country, then that's a completely different set of rules for you. At the end of the day, all of us have children, all of us So, like, if you know, as you said, like hedonism or so on, should all the whole population go about walking up and down naked then?
No, that's
No,
their
but
choice. That's
I know
free
it's their
will.
choice. It is free will, but I'm saying, all right, so because really, what this conversation is going into is there a wrong and right, and it sounds as if there isn't.
It's contextualized. It's super contextualized. Like you don't like it's there are so many things that like in America, for example, I can go to the store and in Texas I could walk around with a gun with no I don't need a permit, no nothing. Can I do that here in Jamaica? No. I'm gonna get arrested.
You're gonna lose your gun.
Right.
All that.
Exactly. So it's like it's hyper contextualized and there is no generalization in terms of right and wrong. And like that's why I say like we shouldn't be judging people or judging cultures, judging religion, because the way the history of the world is just like so different and it's just like from different regions and they just do different things and different rules and different societal acceptances are varied throughout the entire world. And so there is no blanket statement to me and there is no blanket more like right and wrong. I mean there's so many things in the US that I'm thinking of right now but that we could go down these different paths, but I think it's extremely like it's very unique to different situations. I'll say that.
I think we are not in a position to draw a line. We don't have that authority, or nobody has that authority over any culture or anybody. Because what Christians believe, Hindus believe different, and so forth, so on, right? I think based on my understanding or what comes to mind when you're talking, um, or what you're explaining, I should say, is what might be a way of looking at relationships or moving from meeting someone for the first time to marriage forever is that there is, and Winthrop said it, and I think someone said it in the comments, is mutual respect, transparency, so communication, and that covers a lot of things: communication and transparency and respect. And from there, it leads to other things, because arranged marriages, some people never meet the people. They're just grown before they're even I don't know, maybe walking good or something. They're already said to be married or going to marry this person down the street or whatever the case might be. You know, I don't know. Sorry if I'm making this sound bad, but I don't know really how arranged marriages work. Disclaimer. But yeah, but yet still arranged marriages tend to last, if not forever, a pretty long time, longer than or marriages, right? Where you go through what is said to be societal correct way of dating, right? We still have a high divorce rate, even if you go through the courting, you never have sex, you have sex after marriage, but you still end up divorced because one, there's no like respect and communication, transparency, and willingness to work through the hard times. And I think if what I'm understanding from what you said, maybe that's the blanket or requirements for marriage.
Kind of what I'm alluding to is I don't believe that. I believe that the general consensus can be incorrect. So not because necessarily a group of people come together and agree on a certain thing means that it makes it now beneficial to them. I believe, and I believe, like even I look in some cultures, which you can say it's culture and so on. They do it that way, and they make them happy. They have free will, and I understand, and I do agree that that's how the world should be. That they should be allowed to choose. And it's not that I'm knocking it and saying, "Oh, we should go try to do something to those people or something." But I'm saying, if you even look at any issue societally and try to find a solution, you must make some assumption. You have to come to some kind of agreement on what the standard is going to be. And that is I'm not talking about from a perspective of say this religion, this religious basis, or that person or this particular group. I'm saying society at large, no matter what decisions we make, it all has repercussions. And we have to be able to think through it and find out what is the best way to move forward. And in order to do that, we must come to some conclusion. We can't say, oh, well, these people believe in this and this is happiness and love and so on. That's it.
No, but that's what do you mean? Like there is no like homogeneous society in its purest form. Like
No, I agree, but I'm saying, I just don't think saying leave them to do whatever they want to do.
No, there's nothing you can
But
do
that what's the
about it.
alternative? What's the
There's
alternative? What,
nothing
what,
you-
No,
what do you? What's the
I'm
opposite
saying
to
in
that?
concept when you're deciding for yourself.
All right, because like, all right, think about it this way. You
You
can
have to leave people to do what they want to do. But I'm saying you have to look at what people are doing and make a decision for yourself, right?
No, I mean, yes, from a free will perspective, yes, but it also comes down to like how you like that question and the action that that question entails. It'd be different if I was raised Muslim. It would be different if I was raised Jewish. It would be different if I was raised in South Africa
agree.
as opposed to Jamaica
don't
or
think
the
it's a-
U.S.
I don't think it has to do with how you're raised per se. Because even if you're raised a specific way, you can still look at society and decide something for yourself. That this is how you're going to move forward, right?
which is why you can't
Not
really do anything
necessarily.
about it.
No. I believe that if, for instance, females in the Middle East don't have the same rights as males in the Middle East. So if I'm in the Middle East and I decide, and I'm raised a certain way, and I decide I don't want to be the way society, I could be killed. It doesn't work. So it still goes back down to your culture, the way you're raised, and just where you
Right.
are. So it's different. It might just seem very simple to us because we have options where we are free, right? So it might seem that way to us, but when you're in a certain area, that's not a that this is a privilege what we have. It that is not worldwide.
Yeah, but that is an exception to the rule.
No,
it's
No,
not.
I think for perhaps 90% of people on the world, they have a right to choose.
No. That is so. That's not true. That's not true. I would say that's you're living in your world here. You're living in your world here. When you like, remember the one China policy where you could one child
Mhm.
policy in China. That's like
No, you're always going to find some specific scenario in every culture where society is not going to agree with what you're doing. In every culture, you're going to find that. But you can't use that to say they don't have any kind of freedom to then choose what direction to go.
what are you talking? No, Chad. Most
Yeah.
you have a very narrow-minded view of the
Yeah.
world. Extremely,
Very narrow.
extremely. Like you need a little bit more experience. Like,
Okay.
honestly, like that's crazy for you to think that.
Yeah.
Referring back to the one child policy in China, when that was a thing, they literally tore families apart. And the thing why you have a lot of males in China right now, you have males in China that cannot find wives because families chose the male because that's how their culture is. When the government or the officials came because they had a second child that they were hiding because they only could have one child and they just chose the male and they got rid of the female or the second child, third child. They didn't have a choice. They chose to keep the other children, but it was taken from them. They didn't have a choice. Do you think people in North Korea are staying there because they have a choice?
We're talking about like 25% of the world's population. No,
Yeah.
more than that. My
Mhm.
goodness, more than that. Almost
Mhm.
50% of the world's population.
What I'm saying is you're using one specific circumstance.
50% of the world's population is one
Listen-
specific.
listen what I'm saying.
Come on. No.
Rob, listen, perhaps in 100% of the world, stealing is wrong and you'll go to prison. That doesn't dictate every other decision that you make in life, not relating to stealing. What you guys are doing, you're making the argument that because there's one specific scenario where the person is limited based upon their culture or what is happening in where they live, that it should relate to every other decision that you're going to
No,
make.
we're
in
not
their
saying
life.
it's limited, we're saying that there's a
understand-
consequence
no,
to their decision.
Yes, I understand in one specific topic, but you're trying to use the consequence in one specific topic to make it seem as if no everyone is fenced into this way of doing things, which is not the case.
But you're fenced in
may
the way
be
you're
for that
thinking.
one specific thing.
No, Chad, you're generalizing and you're saying that the world is this way, and we're telling you that the majority of the world is not that way. That's what we're saying.
Mhm.
The majority of the world doesn't have the level of freedom that we have here.
What was it that I was saying? You repeat back to me because I don't think you're understanding.
No, you're making the argument that the majority of the world has free will, and then Candice brought up the argument like, no, in Islamic culture, women don't have the same rights as men.
Can they choose what to eat that morning?
I mean,
You're going to the point of saying, because if we keep it to the Islamic culture, you're saying because I can wake up in the morning and choose to have toast, right? That I have free will completely. No, we just as females got the right to drive in some countries. That's not free will. They had to fight for that. Did you hear about the lady who they literally killed her because she removed her, what's it called again? Her head
burqa,
wrap,
yeah,
her
hijab.
hijab.
Sorry, yeah, hijab.
How is that free will? I don't even have the choice. If the breeze blow my hijab off and somebody saw it, I'm dead. How is that free will?
I think you guys are assuming that free will means you're free to do anything you want without repercussions.
No.
No.
No. There's always repercussions for whatever action you choose. Yes. But you're using the argument that because there are specific repercussions for a specific thing, that means that there is no free will. There is free will, but you can choose to do whatever you want to do. The repercussions that you face is either your choice or how somebody reacts to it or so on. It's not the same argument to say
Maybe not free will. Maybe freedom is the right word.
Yeah, I think, but that's where we came from. You were saying
Mhm.
that we're too free in terms of that aspect. So we have the freedom to choose. So now this conversation has gone to free will. Yes, we do have the free will, but a lot of people don't have freedom or the choice. You would like to do it, you would like to make that choice, but it is not there for you. You do not have that option to choose. A lot of people, you might like someone that is not in you don't have the same like outside of your ethnic group, but because you don't have that choice based on whatever reason that might be, religion, parents, culture, whatever, you have to then go with what is given to you, your options. You have the freedom to choose from your options, but what are your options?
All right, so I think we're going way off
Yeah,
topic.
man. Yeah,
We're
man.
going way off topic. So let's bring it back.
Donna says,
Um,
has Chad heard about the Taliban?
All right, so do you guys think chivalry is dead overall?
No, that's my answer. No.
No, chivalry is not dead. Based on my experience, I can only speak from my experience and my people that are around me experience. It's not dead. It's just certain things aren't standards anymore,
Mhm.
and I think that's where it is. Males my age or age group don't necessarily know that they're supposed to open doors for females, or I think that they should. Or it's also the fact that some males do certain things and then they get a reaction because of this hyper feminine movement
Mhm.
that's going on, and they don't know when to do what because they get like a negative reaction to it. Because we want to be independent. Honestly, I'm tired of being independent sometimes. This hyper independent thing. I can if I need to. That's fine. I don't mind that. I'm good with living by myself for the rest of my life and being, fully me. I have no problem. But it's nice to have that option to not have to be,
Mhm.
and some females take that overboard, and
Yeah.
males don't know if they like try to. I'm trying to be politically correct. But yeah, I don't think it's dead. It's just it's a very complicated world we're in when it comes to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't think it's dead either because, like, as you said, some people complicate it. Yeah. Because somebody can want to be chivalrous with somebody, but because they have that independent mindset, like what you said, they'll be like, oh no, I can open the door for myself and stuff like that. So I think that's where it falls back down to.
I like to be
Yeah.
wine and dined,
So
but
like I
yeah.
agree with that. A lot of times like you want to be chivalrous and then are you moving closer to me? And then like how somebody receives it might, deter you from wanting to do that again. But I don't think it's dead because even people my age, like guys my age, they know, oh, you're gonna open the door, the car door for me. You are going to help me get out if I'm in heels. You're gonna help me down steps if I'm in heels. You are going to open like a regular door for me. You're walking on the outside. We're walking like on a side, or you're walking on the outside. And also, if I'm leaving the table, you stand and wait for me to leave the table. All those things. Like even people my age. Why?
This is a lot of rules.
I don't know about that one. That one, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
We have a couple questions, comments in the chat here. I forgot about this one. Ms. Cole says, Ms. Perfectly Imperfect, sorry, says, please talk about the bun culture in Jamaica. I think that was going back to our earlier discussion. I saved this one. I don't know if somebody want to talk about that.
I have no experience with that.
I think it goes back to what we were saying in terms of we have too many options, and one of the downfalls I think is because we're so connected. Like for instance, with the dating apps and so forth, and social media. Once we get to we reach a like a speed bump or a pothole in a relationship, we feel like, oh, I can't bother work through this, and you might not leave the person. That's the thing, communication. You don't leave the person, and then you go and find someone else that tickles your fancy. And then if you're in a committed relationship, instead of working on that speed bump or pothole, you go where you see the grass greener, and it's not necessarily it's greener. It's just because you see something new, and new things shiny and whatever, that whole thing. Try not to use too many terms where, but I think it's just we need more patience, and the commitment isn't as strong. That's where the bun culture come in play. And then this whole thing about because you have one bag of females, you're the don or you're the top man or whatever, it's played out.
And then there's another standard for females. Like as a male, if you have a lot of females, then you are praised, you're respected. But as a female, you're looked down on. So yeah, there's a double standard.
It goes back to the whole everyone wants to do what makes them happy. So
Ah, okay. So before you go, Raman, I'm just oh. So since we're talking about the bun culture, I think it's all yeah, it goes back to freedom and having options, and then there might be something you're unhappy with in your relationship, or you might just see somebody you'll be like, oh, I like this person, you're tempted, and oh, and then there's another part where your partner finds out that you cheated, and instead of having like a conversation and working through it, they decide, I'm gonna get you back, and two wrongs don't make a right, and that's kind of toxic. I don't think it's going to work out that well if that's the approach.
But I also think like it's very avoidable. And if you just want to be with multiple partners, you should communicate that. It's like, no, I'm not one to settle down at this point. I'm not at that stage in my life. I have curiosities. I want to go out there and see what's out there and go on about that business and be mature about it. And it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
why set a level of expectations of this level of commitment and then hurt somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of just being open and it's like, listen, I'm not at that stage of my life, this is not what I'm looking for right now, I want to have a little bit of fun. If you want to partake and be a part of that, cool, we can do this together, and maybe it can grow into something different, and move on, as opposed to, like you were saying, Ramon, just like almost tricking the person into believing that something is going to come out of this, and then you just have multiple partners. And why do it and have that stress over your head of like being worried about what the next text message or phone call that's coming into your phone. And it's just
Excitement.
like, oh my god, like it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense.
It's the excitement. But to your point, Winthrop, I think it's because it's not encouraged to be transparent, or culture. It's not encouraged. And if males start communicating and sharing their feelings and all these things, then you're said to be a sissy or a batman or all these things. And then it's stigmatized. And then you don't want to look like less of a man in front of other people. So they go around like, I don't really want to be with this female, but they go ahead and they're with her and they do whatever. And then they see another female, they still don't want to be with her, but they don't, either they don't want to, or they just don't know how to communicate that to the females
But I think that comes with
and males.
I think that comes with getting to a point of emotional maturity and also understanding yourself and who you are, what you're looking for. And I feel like females mature and get to that stage a lot faster than males do. I can speak for myself. It took me a long time to get to that point of being just emotionally in touch with myself, and then also being mature enough and very unapologetically to the point of expressing myself and being clear about what I want and don't want, and be like, hey, I'm dating other people, or no, this is not necessarily what I want, and just being upfront about that. And it may hurt that person in the long run. That may be something that they don't want to hear, but the alternative to that, to kind of just keep going and staying in it for the sake of getting what you want out of it, is extremely selfish. I think it's short-sighted, and it's just not fair to that other person. And I think, yeah, you have that hard conversation and you roll the dice in a sense, because you don't know how they were gonna respond to that. And they said, based off of that, I want to continue. Great. And they say, based off of that, this is not for me. You move on, and it's better for both of you. It's better for everybody. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Let's get into some other comments. This is a good one. Camille asks, what other expectations outside of sex is necessary for dating? Would be good to hear from everyone.
Why do I always have to be the one?
I
to
thought you
start?
pulled the mic closer to
Oh no,
yourself
no,
to
no! I
answer.
didn't even get a question before. Continue.
Anybody want to start? Let me repeat the question. So, what other expectations outside of sex is necessary for dating? I would say, maybe take it a step further, like that is important for you in a partner.
Yeah. Well, I've always said that it would be good to, because no one is perfect, right? But it would be good to find someone who has bad ways that you can put up with, like, and not bad ways that you find completely irritating and just can't live with long term. So I always think like that is kind of a priority type of thinking, because it's good to always see like all the good qualities of a person when you find them attractive and so on. But you're not often looking for what are the bad qualities, and are they qualities that you would be able to cope with long term. Also, also want to make sure that the person is someone who you,
This is what you want,
yeah,
or you're looking for. Yeah.
this is from my perspective.
Right.
So also someone who you have some kind of affinity towards, I guess, or like shared understanding or shared direction. Not one person going in one direction and the other going in a completely different direction. So it's gonna be hard to, like, what quality time can you spend together with both individuals having completely directions in life? So that's perhaps something that you should consider. Those are like two things that are on the top of my head. Anyone else?
I would say communication and understand each other likes and dislikes in terms of like lifestyle and household chores and stuff like that. Cause like for me, I like to cook, so I do all the cooking. My wife cooks sometime as well, but I would prefer to be in the kitchen. And I don't like yard work, So I prefer to pay somebody for that. So, but once the both of you understand what you like and what you don't like, then you can come up with a way to go around it and know how best to. And I think that will work for a lot of people if they do that.
Like, I agree with you that it's important to know each other's likes and dislikes, but there is also like seeing if you share similar beliefs, similar values, and also just ensuring that you are compatible in a way that I don't like in Jamaica we say uno could live. Like y'all could live in the same place and be comfortable with each other because
That's the other thing. That's the other thing. I think I think you need to live with the person before marriage as well. Yes, because Simeon live with me are two different things.
I think that's a well-known saying.
yeah.
But
Oh, but yeah, but what? But what?
I know what the but is. No, he is going to say that living with the person would probably mean that it would lead to you being sexually active, which is, not in his belief, be having
which I
sex
don't think is
before
congruent with
marriage.
having a long-term relationship necessarily. I think the sex is important, but we have to solve the prerequisite of is
All
this
right,
person a person
put
who you
put
want to
sex
be
aside.
sexually involved with before engaging?
Put sex aside. So living with the person. Remember, it's two different individuals coming together. I might be a messy person. She might be a clean freak. Oh, we're not gonna live together.
No, but that goes back to my point when I said find the things that you can cope with.
Yeah, but that's not something to cope with. That's the
Yeah, no,
thing.
but that
Naga can't live together. I tell
But you
you.
won't know that unless you live with the person.
Yeah. Naga fight every day.
I don't think you have to live with the person to know if they're clean or not.
No,
I think if you
no,
if you
no,
were trying to find out who the
no,
person
you
is,
don't have to, But what I'm saying is it better. It work out better in the long run if you experience the person in full. And this is sex aside. No sex not for the doing that. If you experience the person in full, it better in the long run.
I disagree.
I think
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. I actually agree with Rahman because I don't. You just have to know if you can live with somebody.
If they snore, if they kick when they sleep, do they
Yeah.
get up a million times to use the
Uh-huh.
bathroom? Do they have to wear headgear? Like, oh my gosh, like so many things that go into that you
Mhm.
just have no idea that's gonna just annoy the heck out of you that you're just
Yeah.
like, there's no way.
Mhm.
And my mother always told me, and this is anybody, you don't know anybody until you live with them. You just don't.
But what I'm saying is like you don't these people don't have any parents, they don't have anyone who you don't ask any questions to anyone, you don't really try to are you really trying to find out about this person? Because I feel like you guys are assuming that all this time that you're spending with the person, you guys are just like eating and just just being in
Are you playing devil's advocate or this is what you
I just
both.
really
I-
believe.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
I do believe these things, but I'm also pushing back because some of the things do sound ridiculous to me.
it is.
like what's coming out your mouth is ridiculous.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous to you as well. But I think there's merit. I think you can agree if you're supposed to be objective, there is some merit or benefit in what I've said so
Nope.
far.
No.
Nope.
I mean,
I
there
think you
that may
disagree
be
about the things I
no,
said,
No,
no,
but
no.
there
I-
is merit.
no. I see none.
You don't see any merit at all.
None. None.
I
Honestly.
don't think you're being honest.
I'm being honest.
Very honest.
let me say
Honestly.
something.
In what you saying.
Let me say something. So when you're dating someone and you're meeting them in public, or even if you go over their place, they're still able to put up this front. If you keep with the clean, just use the example of the cleanliness,
Mhm.
right? if they're a messy person by nature, or not even like crazy messy, but just a bit you what you consider messy, then they can pretend while you come when because they know you're coming over to be clean. Everything is in place. The place is spick and span for months with you coming to visit them, right? You spend maybe a few nights over and they're spick and span. But the moment you live with this person, they after a while, they're gonna go back to their natural way of doing things. And they can't put up this front forever. And then you're gonna also realize you're as well not gonna be able to put up this front forever with everything. And your true self is gonna come out, and then that's when you're gonna know. Imagine finding out that this person is hella messy after you've been married and you can't leave, and now you have to be the one forever cleaning up their mess because they don't want to clean up their mess.
Mhm.
They don't want to put their shoes where it's supposed to go, and they have to talk about the same thing over
So
and
every day,
over
every day
every
arguments,
day.
arguments every day. Like that, that would be a headache.
Yeah, you're right. Imagine if you dated someone and you got to know them really well and they were honest and you enjoyed certain things about them and they had ways that you could condone
So,
and you
all
were
right.
able to have all these prerequisites for a good relationship. Imagine if,
All
man,
right,
that would be so.
let me ask you a question.
No, because it seems to me like you guys are only focused
All
on
right,
the
all
negatives.
right, let me
Like how
ask you
this
a
could
question.
go bad in one specific
All
scenario.
right, let me ask you a question. Like, what's a no-no for you in a relationship?
No, from me.
Yeah. What's one thing that you'd say, all right, if this happen or if this is going on within the relationship, I'm done.
Like cheating.
Cheating.
Yeah.
Something other than that. Something
Something other
else.
than
Yeah.
that.
Like
Like
a,
Like a
just a
pet
gripe.
peeve or something
a
like that.
habit.
Yeah, like a
So-
habit. Yeah. Something different from that.
Like someone who, say if I'm married to like I'm dating someone who when they go out in public they just don't know how to represent themselves.
Okay. All right. So let's say you're with this person. You don't know that side of them. And them get married and that side start to come out. How would you live with that?
I don't think it would just come out like that. I think we're going to assume that this person has been playing a facade for that's what we're going to do, right? We're
Yeah.
going to have to assume that this person has it. But that would mean that they had the skills to represent themselves well all along, which means at that point it would be intentional. Which like why would somebody be able to represent themselves, trick me for so long, and then get married and then just switch up and just start acting like
But that's
complete
the
fool in
norm
the
for a
public?
lot of people.
I don't think so.
No, the no. Okay, so we've been using very simple, based on what I'm seeing in the comments. Yes, we've been using very simple examples because that's what's coming to mind, right? But on a larger scale, people are used to being this perfect version of themselves during the dating stage. And even if you're in a relationship and you're just putting your best foot forward because you're trying to make a sale, right? Trying to close this deal, trying to get this person to marry you, you're not gonna, if you snore when you go visit this person, you're gonna do your best
Not
to make
to.
sure that this person falls asleep first, or stuff like that. You're gonna put your best foot forward at all times. So what we're trying to say is that living with a person, it gives you the opportunity to see the true side of a
Yes.
person, because you won't know certain things that are are for you a deal breaker that could kill a relationship outside of the intimacy part, until you get to truly know this person. And a lot of people, it is when you start living with them that you get to see that part. Some people are.
I'll say I'll even use myself as an example. So Winston D brought up a good point. All very well, pointing out others' faults. What about your faults? We all have faults and have to work on them. And so, like, I'll even use myself as an example in the sense that, say, I'm dating somebody. Everybody knows I'm a runner, and like I get up at 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I'm busy. And like they'll be like, okay, yes, I support you. I support your running goals. I support you're busy and you're doing all these things. But what does that actually look like and translate to in reality? You don't know until you live with me. You don't know that. All right, that means that we are going to sleep at 9 o'clock. We're preparing for bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock. That means like, all right, we're not going out. We're not going to the. I mean, of course, we'll go to movies and dates and stuff like
Occasionally,
that.
like, but,
Occasionally,
yeah.
but for the most part, like that's my life. I'm going to be gone for 3 hours on a Saturday morning, training, running, 18, 20 miles.
Mhm.
I'm also going to be working long hours as well. And I've dated people who are like, yeah, I support you on that. And then we start spending time with each other. And then all of a sudden, they don't understand and they
Mhm.
don't realize like what it actually
And they
takes
need
to
more
be with me.
time.
Need more time, need more this. And like I get it. And I'm not saying I'm an easy person to date. I admit that fully, but I'm also being very transparent about what I am bringing to the table in my lifestyle. And I'm not saying that I am not willing to adjust. And I think when I get to that point where I do meet somebody that is like super special and that they need more time, maybe I'll start making adjustments in my schedule to cater to that relationship. But for right now, it's just like if you haven't dated a marathoner, if you haven't dated a runner, it's you're in for a very different experience with me. I mean, and that's just the reality.
So I've not lived with Winthrop, but someone is saying that you don't have to live with someone to know their hobbies and business, way of doing business. But based on my experience with Winthrop, he gets up at like what 4 in the morning to run. So that means he's waking up at 4. He's gonna be getting ready. At that time, I'm well asleep. If I wake up at 4 and maybe some people they might not be able to go back to bed. And what if I'm a late person? I go to my bed like 9 o'clock is early. I've been trying to go to bed at 9 and I don't know for some reason I still end up falling asleep going to bed at 11, 12, and I'm actively trying to but it just I don't know it's a working process
Yeah, you don't know what that feels like
Mhm.
to have a partner like that.
and
You don't you'll say, "Oh yes, I support you." You'll say that. But then when it comes to like living with me and experiencing it,
Mhm.
you may be like, "Yo, this ain't for me. This
Yeah.
is crazy."
yeah because like for instance if we're together and we're living together and you go to bed at 9 that's why I'm like okay let's go watch a movie. Like I have Netflix up. You said you were gonna watch this movie. And we're watching the series together. Come on,
And
it's
it's
like
different. It would be different when we're dating because we're talking on the phone and be like, "Okay, babe, I'm gonna head to bed," and then you go watch you're in your
Yeah.
home, and I'm going to
Mhm.
bed. You're gonna go watch your Netflix. But now if we're living together, it's the different experience.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
a different experience. I'll tell you that.
and then like you have like certain habits with your health and so forth and exercise and all these things and we're just concentrating on like very minute things so it seems very trivial to some
No,
people
it's the little things. You're
but
you're hitting it on the head.
yeah it's this thing plus that other little thing plus that other little thing that adds up and then you're like I don't think I can take this no more.
And
you
then
know?
maybe like, "Yo, let's go to KFC for dinner," or let's order this. I'm like, "Nah, we're not doing that." No, I grew up on KFC. That's nice, but we're not gonna have like I'm not having that.
Mhm.
And I think that brings us to a good question, like because so like for a successful relationship, it often takes compromise, right? Because there's no not all situations are going to be perfect according to what you want.
Mhm.
So like who do you say should compromise in a relationship?
Both people.
Both. Yeah.
And and if that's the case, like because I don't need to live with Rob to know that he wakes up exactly.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
It's
we're
a
not there.
different
Yeah,
experience.
different. It's just
A
different.
Even
I
when I'm on
understand.
vacation with my boys and like we're in the same hotel room, it's just like they're like, "God, you have to run while we're in Vegas, for a party weekend." Like it's different. It's very very different. Like see, like and again, I've experienced this. When I tell people I'm busy, when I tell people I'm a runner, it's different. You're not gonna. It's not saying like yes, in your mind and you understand. You don't understand. You don't understand.
But you see, for instance, we as okay, so as a female, it might seem okay, it's hard or whatever, but there's gonna be a day when a female will come along and they'll be like, okay, I can adjust to this because, I'll support his running dreams and I understand he's busy. He makes time to message me in the days, call me when he's on break. Yes, there are some females that will adjust to his schedule because they support him but I mean, he's talking about his experience. He's um one person I didn't get to see the name where they said their husband is a marathon and they still get to enjoy times, but then your understanding of his schedule, right?
Right.
You're able to compromise with his schedule and he's able to compromise a little bit, and you can work things out. But so far, based on Winthrop's experience, he has not found a female that is able to say, okay, you go to bed at 9. We every now and again we can have a late night. um you know every now and again he might not wake up at 4, so when I wake up at 7, I'll be able to roll over and hug and cuddle a little bit. No, he's already on a road, he's running. I understand this. Okay, fine, I'll compromise. And maybe on Sunday mornings, Saturday mornings, you sleep in. Oh wait, no, you run Sunday Saturday mornings, but maybe Sunday mornings he'll sleep in late and we're able to get to cuddle until late, right? And then that we already know, okay, Sundays he doesn't run early because that's a compromise or something. But until he finds a female that's able to adjust to his schedule and then he can adjust to hers. But at the end of the day, if he's adjusting to the females, he's gonna lose his running career, right? His business is gonna fail at some point. It's gonna stop performing well. And it takes two to tango. So if the female isn't willing to compromise and he's willing to compromise, that's only to the detriment of one person in the relationship. And that's the problem. Like, unless you can find a partner or two people that are willing to go, not say 50-50, but you get the idea when I mean say 50-50,
Yeah.
right? But to go 50-50, then you are not going to be able to survive.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things is when you live together, you get to figure out some of these issues and sit down and communicate and say, okay, I can deal with this. Can you change this? And I change that, yada, yada, you know?
Because like for me, I do video production. So a lot of the times I will be out on a production, and that takes hours, sometimes even days. So how I compromise with my wife is that, all right, so for some of these assignments, I would tell her that, all right, I might be able to bring you along with me. So, and she would be down for that, and then she would also help me on the project as well. So
That's awesome.
so she will compromise in that sense as well. So that's how we get to work out our thing. But if she was like, well, I don't like that or I don't know that, then what would happen is then she would not be around me as much.
Yeah.
Because I'll have to be out doing my production stuff. And then if I'm going to stop doing my production stuff to spend time with her, then I'm going to lose my creativity sense of, and then what I love as well.
Yep.
All that. So it have to be something that we both can communicate and be like, all right, this is what we can do to make it work.
Right.
And to your point, and then that's when the bun come in play. You might find a female who shares your interest now and say, "Oh, I'll help you. You have a job. I'll learn how to work the switchboard. I'll learn how to set up a camera." And then it turns one thing into another, and then you never intended on it, but then it just got there.
All right, Chad. Chad ready to drop something now.
And that brings us to. So I agree, and that's where the bond come in, right? So since because when you guys were speaking about it's the job of both people to compromise, and all of that we say like with your wife, you will do that sometimes, and then she will do that sometimes for you. That to me sounds like a healthy relationship. That sounds to me like you guys have a meaningful relationship and you're trying to make it work. And I think that's a responsibility that both parties should go ahead with, to make a relationship have longevity. The opposite to that would be, as I said, the bond situation. So you find somebody who is willing to do the other thing, and then you then replace this person who you have a commitment to. So I don't remember what the end question was I wanted to ask on it, but I'm saying there has to be like sometimes when you're making some of the arguments you guys are making, it feels to me as if like there is like, why did you guys even get together in the first place? Like, if there is no compromise,
No, but we never said that there would be
Yeah.
any compromise. So you're in a box by yourself.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
no. I mean, that's me, no, box by myself. That's sometimes that's how you guys make it seem. It's as if like,
No. No, because even with Trap was saying that um they would have to be able to fit into his lifestyle for it to work. So once they're fit into that lifestyle, then he would be able to adjust better along with them. That's how he would
So
compromise.
is it that it only applies to the sex part of it? That's the only
No,
part that's different.
what?
No, no, I'm saying no, no. Here we try to get what I'm saying because you guys were making the argument before that
Mhm,
being with somebody
mhm.
who the flame is not there, right?
Which flame?
Sexually.
What do you-
No, man.
No, this is what we're discussing.
Finish,
This is
finish,
what we're discussing
finish.
earlier, right? You were saying that being with somebody who like you're not to say not sexually attracted to, but like you were saying, you're not feeling that for them, right? And then that's how people end up moving on to someone else. But I'm saying all these compromises that you were talking about before, how you would do this because she doesn't like that, or she would do this because you don't like that. I feel like that's what a meaningful relationship, that's a standard that would make it successful. Like you guys try to figure it out, right, as you go along, rather than because to me it's like the message I was getting from you guys was that if it is that because it's such an importance, the sex part is such an importance, that physical connection is that if that is not right, then replacing them is a good option.
Uh,
No.
I would say that I will. Go ahead, chime in.
All right. So what we were saying was that in the initial stage, we would prefer like so. Sex is not as important, or it's not the only thing, but it is important, but it's not the only thing. So before I was just saying that before marriage, I would prefer to have. It's not a must, but I would prefer to have sex before marriage, so that after marriage, I don't want to have any form of what's the word?
Surprises.
Surprises,
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
curiosities.
yeah,
You know what you're getting into.
yeah. So everything would already be aligned and well.
So, I mean, it's not that they're relationships, whether it is intimacy, there is intimacy in it or not. Both it comes down even friendship, business
Mm.
relationships. Their communication is required, right? And some amount of compromise is required. Any relationship you're talking about. So bringing it back to an intimate one, when you get to the point of intimacy, whether that is in the early stages of the dating, mid, before marriage, after marriage, and you find that you have built this emotional connection with this person, right? And you're like, I really want to be with this person, but it's not really working out in the bedroom, right? That's when you talk to the person and you're like, hey, I don't like this aspect of it. And
Mhm.
if the person is willing to say compromise or adjust or certain things to learn how to please me and vice versa,
Yeah, in that sense, it would. In that sense, it
it
would
will
work.
work. Yeah. What it is that it's not a general thing. It's not, you don't mean like you
Mhm.
can. I've had conversations with people and I'm like, hey, I don't like this. And then they will claim that they're changing it. They change it this one time and you're like, okay, cool. And then the next time it goes right back. And then you talk about it because you're like, okay, it's art, it's the way they do things, a habit. Let me work through this stage of them getting used to the way I like something, right? Whether it's intimacy or something just in general, right? And you trying that person, they claim they're trying, they claim they're doing it, but they do it long enough for you to believe it, and then they go right back to it. And then that's where the issue comes in play. And then you're like, okay,
Mhm.
maybe this relationship isn't for me, and then you end that one and then you should move on to, you have to end it first, yeah, before you move on to the other one, right? But if both parties aren't willing to communicate, one, what they like from what they dislike, and two, willing to adjust to it, that's the problem. It's not like we're saying like, there's no compromise in that, in intimacy
Mhm.
stage. There should be compromise because even if you have lots of experience, you don't know how to please me
Mhm.
necessarily. What works for one female don't necessarily work for me, and
But what's the
vice versa.
what's the extremely like what would be like a no what would be like a full on no, this not gonna work. is if you and the person want to build that intimate connection, that will like want to communicate and all that, and want to build a bond with each other, and when they get married, and then after getting married, wanna have sex, and the sex we wanna have, it not compatible any at all. That cannot be fixed. That's what I was saying in the initial stage. In that case, it cannot be fixed because you're not compatible sexually
But
with each
what
other.
would you what would be the solution? Would you be looking for a different partner at that point? Or what?
No, the solution. All right. What I'm saying is that it could have been avoided
Right.
if there was sex before. That's what I'm saying. Because the thing is, now you have to remember.
So let me put this conundrum. If say you marry her, everything was good in both regards, personally, intimately, and so on,
Mhm.
and she meets in an accident,
Mhm.
and the sex won't be as it was, and maybe for the rest of her life.
That scenario is different. Then you'd have to change the way of the lifestyle, and then it's a communication again now with both of you to see how best they can move forward. And if it's not something that you can live with long term, then you have the conversation to say, all right, I think it would be better for both of us if we end it in that sense. But what I was saying was like let's say for instance, to see if I can explain it a little bit better to you. Let's say for instance, you're with a female, and like how some of the time then we say some man have small something, yeah. Um your thing can't really satisfy her to the point where she's not feeling anything. She's not going to stay with you.
Let's try to keep it a little bit PG.
I'm trying to adjust my word.
That's a
Yeah,
reality.
but that's
I'm not going to say she's not, because there is cases where people do stay.
yeah, but they don't stay. All right, they stayed, but
I feel like because
no, the thing is, some people
so,
stay, some people stay, but what I'm saying is they're not fully in 100%, and that's when the infidelity comes in. So they stayed because the monetary part is good, and the communication is good, and the talking and all of them part is good, but the intimacy for them is not there. So they're going to get it from somebody else.
Trap, any views, Trap?
I mean, the point here, I think that we're trying to make. I mean, you have your belief that sex before marriage is terrible, and that you shouldn't live with each other before getting married. And like our view is for the best possible chance at a
Longer term,
happy,
yeah.
healthy relationship is to live with somebody and get to know and have an understanding
Yeah.
of what the intimacy would be like.
And don't get me wrong. You have scenarios where persons do all of that and it don't work out.
No, but statistically, that's what fails.
No,
Yeah, living together. Statistically, the most successful marriages are people who have been together, their first partner, long term. Those are the marriages that are succeeding. The marriages that are failing are the marriages that people have multiple
I would need
partners
you to
trying
show me that stat.
Yeah,
No.
but then I would also say statistically as well, like the marriage, like what Candy said earlier, the marriages that stay together the most are arranged marriages.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be a good thing?
Hell no.
Why wouldn't it be?
If
both parties say they're
there's
happy.
no. Like you can't tell me like who I'm going to marry. Like
No, they
religion.
can't tell
my
you, but I'm
marri-
saying if those people who are married are staying married for long term,
And
having families, raising families, living a fulfilling life.
all right, in most of the cases, in most of those cases, the countries that do arranged marriages are countries that
countries and cultures.
yeah, and cultures that does that. If you go outside of that culture, then you get disowned. So they have to find a way to live it, because look at the Indian culture. That's one that do the whole arranged marriage thing. If a Indian female goes outside of her race, yeah, that is Indian or no?
No,
I'm not
Indian.
sure.
No, it's Indian.
It's Indian.
It's Indian.
It's not. No, we're not talking about religion. No, we're not talking about religion. We're talking about the. If you're in India, like the whole, well, yeah, some people, but yeah, for that, that culture is is the one that does that the whole marriage thing where yeah, arranged marriage. So most of the time for them, if they go outside of it, they get disowned by their families.
But then that goes down back to what we said earlier is respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though they've never met this person that they've been, arranged to marry, they respect their family, the person,
Mm-hmm.
you respect your own family, and you have this understanding between families. So now you're like, okay, if my father or parents vetted this person and
Mm-hmm.
his family, then I know that their values align me. So there's some amount of, okay, a level
Mm-hmm.
of I guess respect going in,
Mm-hmm.
because you're like, we're similar to some extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next after that no is communication and transparency, because we've never met before, so now we have to talk,
Mm-hmm.
figure out who are you and who am I, you figure who am I,
Mm-hmm.
and we take it from there and build from that. So it still to me goes back to communication. Communication includes transparency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And mutual respect for each other, and just the way, and your family and the way you do things. And communication also includes compromise as well. And I think for those four things, if one is lacking, especially if respect is lacking,
Mm-hmm.
then a marriage, relationship, anything will crumble. That, at least that's my
Plus,
view
plus,
on it.
plus another thing to add to that too. Why some of those relationships work as well is because they're not exposed to the wider world and to other cultures. So they only know what they know, and they only know that to be the only thing to go. That's what they're used to.
And then the next thing with you, like you're saying, you don't have to have um sex before marriage, right? I agree, you don't have to, but there needs to be some amount of communication, because like, say, going out there, someone is into BDSM, right? And I'm not into BDSM. When we get to that stage, it's gonna be quite a shock, because
Mm-hmm.
You already
that's
put what? Where?
so even though we don't get to that point before marriage, at least as some amount of communication, a
Mm-hmm.
conversation about it needs to be had.
Yeah.
You know,
Want to bring in some comments here from questions slash comments from the audience. Janice says, I had that question about dating apps also. Suzette, if I'm new to Jamaica, what is the easiest way to enter the dating scene?
meet a Jamaican friend and ask them to recommend someone. I really have that same issue. I currently I'm in a relationship, but when I was single, I don't know where on earth in Jamaica I would go to meet someone outside of work or my friend circle. So that's all I can say. Have friends, people who have been local, doesn't have to be Jamaican, but people who know people in Jamaica, and have them introduce you to someone.
Anybody else?
Well, I did see this dating app in the App Store, like for Caribbean people or something like that. But
What's the name of it?
was it? I don't remember. I do not remember.
Suzette is asking, is there a singles meetup group or an app in Jamaica?
You know,
General Foods.
Oh, so Celine said there could be, but we don't know any.
I mean, there's like the normal dating apps like Tinder and Bumble here, I would say are the two most popular ones.
Yeah, yeah, those are here.
Mhm.
I've never used them, but yeah. I
You
mean,
never heard about the Tinder swindler?
no, I'm saying it's a dating app.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, what do you think it was? Or what is it to you?
I have no clue. No, you see, because I only like hear about these things through like TV shows and movies. So the perception of it on TV shows and movies isn't that dating app more than it is a hookup app. So yeah.
I know people that got married from relationships that started on Tinder.
Mhm.
Um, Pretty general question. Angelo asks, "What is dating in Jamaica like for men and women?"
It depends on who you are.
It depends on who you are. Oh,
Yeah, because different people have different experiences. Um, and I'm not sure if I can really talk about generally. Next.
what?
I'm
I think what Selenian is saying is based on your preferences. Um, Personally speaking, I've I've quite a limited local experience. I mean, dating local men. So I can only speak about the few I've dated. And similar with my close friends. So it's it depends. So for me, the majority that you come in play you come into interaction with is the ones on the streets, or the ones on the streets, right? And they think that catcalling is a way to approach a lady, and that just doesn't do it for me, because I'm wondering if they even get females from it, but apparently they must be if they're doing it consistently, right?
Preferences, man.
But
Preferences.
yeah, then it goes
Some
down to
girls like it.
preferences. Yeah, I don't like those things. So for me, I would, if I meet someone, I would like to meet them in a certain area, like a certain environment. So
Mineral foods.
say that's why I like if I'm introduced to someone through, a mutual friend or colleague or whatever, because then I know that they're somewhat similar background as me. Um, So it goes down to your social status, your preferences, and just the group of people that you associate yourself with. Because I don't want to say too much and speak down on people and generalize.
Speak on it.
What's your opinion, Candice?
Jamaican men are too rough. They're too dry,
oh my
and
goodness.
they don't think this is generalizing to the max, right? They don't think that they should share their emotions and have like deep-hearted conversations with females because they're tough man and all these things, and certain things they don't want to do because they feel like it emasculates them, generally speaking, very generally speaking. But I have met very nice men in Jamaica who
Mhm.
are very ambitious, well educated,
Mhm.
and they motivate me as well in certain areas. What have you guys got? See, there you go. Er, Real man no share
Oh my
feelings.
goodness.
So that's the culture here with men, and that's the thing too, right? So as putting it in for you ladies in the diaspora abroad, you're probably used to certain things, and when you come to Jamaica you might not get that. Not to say that it is not here. You do have men that will talk to you, share their feelings, and connect with you on a very deep emotional level, but it's not common from my experience. I'm trying not to go too much in
Okay,
detail.
so I was gonna agree with Candice to say, like you're saying, you don't really like would consider people that are like outside of your social circle or like work or something. Yeah, I am the same way because I'm really afraid of like pursuing anyone or considering anyone who is like not in the same field or like being like a creative or something like that. But I don't know if that's like wrong of me, but it's just I'm going to stop.
I think that's that's why you put the big screen on me. I mean, I think that's fair. I think it also goes back to what I forget who asked, somebody in the stream asked a question of like, important to know who you are and also what you're looking for, and being very clear on that, because I think that that's going to allow you to very quickly go through the process of, this person is for me, this person is not for me, and like having like a clear understanding of that, and really knowing who you are, like to like a really brutally honest level, like I think is very, very important, and not pretending to be somebody you're not, and like in terms of like outwardly, and then like being honest with yourself. You can't lie to yourself at the end of the day, and at least you shouldn't. And so I think that you're going to be, I mean, having that opinion of just like dating people in your industry, that's probably safe. They understand your job, they understand what it takes and how hard you have to work to be successful in what you're doing. I understand. um for me, I would say I have a limited experience dating Jamaican women here, because I live in Negril, and it's it's a transient town. It's a very tourist centric town as well, and I don't mean to offend anybody. Like, when we kind of get back to compatibility and like what I'm looking for, I I am not in control of these cameras, but it's like I look for. I think Candice was talking about like finding somebody who's ambitious. I think that's like incredibly important to me, to find like an ambitious person. I look for traits that are important to me in a wife, but also in a mother as well. At least at this point in my life, I'm 39 years old. Like, I'm not here to waste anybody's time. I'm not here to waste my time either. And so, I mean, do I have high standards? Maybe, but like kind of bringing it back to Jamaica, it's. I also understand, like, my background is not, and my upbringing is not in Jamaica. It's in New York. It's in Long Island, and I have that about me. I also find, and this is like a positive and negative. Like, I've traveled to like many different countries and experienced many different cultures, and so the makeup of who I am is very diversified in that way. And so when it comes to a compatibility standpoint, that may be hard to have with somebody who never left Negril, who never left Westmoreland, who doesn't listen to podcasts, who doesn't read on a regular basis, who just again, compatibility standpoints. And that's going to be very difficult for us to have meaningful conversations. And I also I know myself and who I am. Like, I need somebody who challenges me. Like, you can't be a robot. You can't agree with everything that I agree with, and there has to be an element of me being with somebody that is going to help me grow as a person. And I can't grow with somebody who's just going to do everything that I'm going to do and just kind of goes along with whatever. Like, I need somebody who challenges like my mindset and my ideologies, and religious beliefs, political beliefs, whatever it is. Like, I like that is so important. Like, and hopefully I'm able to bring that to the table as well. And again, that's been difficult to find here in Little Negril.
Yeah, because if it was up to me, I would spend all my money on equipment. My wife keeps telling me, you have to save, stop spending money, stop spending money carelessly, think before you buy, and all of this.
Yep.
So if she was a robot, then I would just be broke.
Right. No, that's important. You need that. I mean, it's so important. And some people don't appreciate that. Some people just is like, I'm the man, or you're a woman. You're used to living your life a certain way. You're only living for yourself. Like, it can't be. It can't be. And it's just like, man, how are you going to have a healthy relationship? How are you going to continue to grow as a person and as a human if you're just like, this is my mindset, this is what I believe, and that's it. You either work with it or you don't.
Yeah, because you have some men out here that believe that a woman is not supposed to say anything to them, or they don't take any form of telling from a woman. So, but that's not right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's not
crazy
right.
to me. That's crazy to me. I mean, and then how is that person going to grow? You know,
Mhm.
if they're not allowed to have an opinion, how are they going to have fulfillment in their life, and how are they going to be happy? That's
Mhm.
very difficult to do under those circumstances, which you feel stifled, or you feel like you can't express yourself, and eventually, I mean, probably going to leave you, right? If somebody's not happy, like why would you continue to live a life of unhappiness,
Mhm.
especially with something that's so important about really being who you are as a person?
And on the next side of happiness too, on the other side of happiness, I don't think like some people go into a relationship thinking that this person should make them happy.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
that's a no. That's a no. You should be able to make yourself happy, and him make it, and then the two wanna join as two individuals to bring both lifestyles together, and then build a certain amount of happiness between the both of you. But one person cannot make the other person happy. Mhm.
Right. No, I agree with that. It's so important that you're a happy person already.
Yes.
Like if you go into a relationship expecting them, your partner, to make you happy or to bring you the joy that you've been looking for your whole life, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yes.
And you're more than likely going to bring that person down with you.
Mhm.
Just want to address a couple comments here. Um, Danny B says, Thrive, it sounds like your ideal woman is not in Jamaica. I wouldn't say that. It's probably more along the lines of Donna Bryce here. Says, Thrive, the kind of woman you're looking for would be more likely in Kingston. And yeah, and that's not a knock on the grill. It just kind of is what it is. You know, there are just, and I'm not saying this doesn't exist in the grill, but there are more career oriented and focused, ambitious women, and just people in general, men and women in Kingston. And the economy here is totally revolves around tourism. And I just think there's a better, at least for me, like what Donna's saying, like it's probably not in the grill. It's probably more than likely Kingston than anything else. Um, Havrika says, also have to think about how she's going to challenge you. She can be agreeable in one aspect and challenge you in another area. Be mindful that this can borderline be argumentative or combative. I think it also depends on how you receive it, you know, and how, you know, is that person going to make you better? And you know, kind of like what you're saying is like your wife is the one that's like kind of tempering you and from spending money.
It's more along the line of because she's in finance.
Oh, well, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So she's
Okay.
in finance.
Yeah.
So along that line, that line it wouldn't be argumentative.
Hmm? Oh, yeah.
No man, that's fine.
Sorry, you're saying?
No, I was just saying that in my case it's different.
Mm-hmm.
But you have some women who are argumentative still, who they basically just say back stuff to cause an argument, or just disagree with stuff just to disagree with it, not because of beliefs or stuff like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been in those relationships. No bueno.
Not healthy at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Really, really tough. All right, okay, never mind. Uh, let's see if we have any other comments here. And I think we got through everything. You guys need to use the bathroom or anything? I know I do, so you can if you need to. Rodriguez says yes, Ramon. That's what I'm referring to. I know women like that. They love to argue. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm out automatically. I clock out. I'm gone.
Yeah, so like Chad, no, Chad would live with it.
Aren't there also men like that though?
The
Saying,
thing
aren't
is,
aren't there also men like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The thing is, and that's why I find it so important to make sure that you guys have the same kind of beliefs, and also like kind of the vetting process of knowing who you're getting together with.
No, sometimes it's not beliefs, you know. Some people are just argumentative for no reason.
Yeah.
They just
No,
yeah.
that's the thing. If I'm courting someone and I pick that up, that disqualifies them.
No.
Because they're putting on, like, they'd be putting on their perfect image for you.
I've dealt with many people in my life. No, and I'm not talking dating.
Elaborate.
I'm not talking dating. I'm not talking dating. A lot of times when you guys are speaking, is as if you're assuming that I'm just blindly. I don't know anything about this person. This person has completely fooled me. You know, like we have to be realistic. The process of getting to know somebody. Oftentimes, you might have somebody who you meet and I say maybe you're hiring somebody to make a cabinet for you. And after a while, I get to know them and you realize, okay, they have certain qualities I can't work with this person. You find somebody else. And then, until you find somebody who you say, okay, I can work with this person. Or maybe you start doing more work with them, right? I do think the test of times does give you some information about the person. But you guys tend to not believe that I have to live with the person.
No. You are straight from the point, you know. Because like we say, would I prefer to live with the person before marriage? That is time. We're living with them to get to know
You
them
don't have
over
to-
time.
But I'm saying you don't have to live with the person to get to know them.
Not to really get to know them, you have to.
I don't have to live with the person who I'm getting to hire.
No,
hire and
we're
do
talking
something.
about
That's a
higher.
different thing.
No, but
you
that's-
don't have to live with that person for your entire life.
No, but you would know them. You would know them to some extent, wouldn't you?
All right,
Yeah,
so
but it's two different things. Like getting somebody contract to do some work for you, and
I don't think
somebody who
they
you're
they
going
are
to.
two different things, but it's still getting to know.
all right. So all right, let's use your scenario with work. Let's use your scenario with work.
Because that
let's
person
say
can put on as well, not true?
let's say you let's say you hire somebody to fix your kitchen cabinet, and them start come for work on the kitchen cabinet and everything. But while they're working on the kitchen cabinet, them mash up the countertop, them damage the tile, and that all of that is happening over time.
Yeah.
Are you going to still work with that person?
No.
Okay. But suppose the person only did a come in like today, them come in and fix the counter, but them chip the tile. You don't really see the tile because them not really dead continuously. Them a come like once every month. Them still a work on the cabinet, but them a damage the thing them in a little space, but you not see it.
That's not a realistic way of courting someone. That wouldn't apply to courting someone. Because courting is a regular thing, a regular basis.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying about that. All right, you're
Hold
not gonna
on.
really know the person until you live with them in full.
Hold on, there are different stages that we're talking about, and we can't. We're talking about them in segments, and we're not talking about every single stage of it, right? There is a stage that you're referring to, which is you talk to the person, you get to know them through conversations and one-on-one time, group activities,
Yes.
and so forth. That is one stage of getting to know someone. Another stage of getting to know someone is being in the same space for a prolonged period, meaning living together, knowing how they do things on a day-to-day basis, morning, noon, night, right? Have you? Because during the pandemic, a lot of marriages,
A lot of
Oh.
marriages got
yeah,
ended because of that.
because now you're being locked in a space with someone that you didn't get to maybe had the time or whatever reason to be with them for such long periods
Yes.
of time.
You
right?
used to see them only at night, but now you're spending day, night,
Day,
everything.
night, everything.
You again?
So and this is too, we're speaking about the ideal, is not necessarily what has to happen or what will happen, but is the preferred route, right?
Mhm.
Because you could meet someone and you really love this young lady, right? And then she's like, Chad, I want to live with you first before we officially we're engaged, but I want to live with you before I completely commit.
You
You're
say
gonna
no?
give up on that lady completely.
Also, the
She-
relationship end.
She,
But would that end?
but no, that's what I'm saying.
'Cause-
I'm saying, yeah, if that's a prerequisite, yes, it ends.
So you've gone through all the stages. You're like, this is her, the woman I'm gonna marry, spend the rest of my life with. And because she said, Chada, I really want to know what type of person you are at home and live with you for a few months before we walk down the aisle, you're gonna just end the relationship just like that?
I'm not going to agree to her living with me. If she wants to leave because I don't agree, that's her prerogative. But she's not living with me.
But then, all right. But then, all right. So let's say, all right, she go ahead with not living with you, and you guys get married, and then after the marriage, she realized you're a messy person, and she can't really deal with after I take up your clothes all over the house and them something there. So
That's the
she
part-
said,
those are the parts that I have an issue with. Like,
no,
she
but
can't
hold on,
deal with
no,
picking up my
yeah, she
clothes,
can't
like,
deal. She can't deal with it. So that is something that she will not.
She shouldn't get married.
She was trying to avoid that, but you.
No, she should not get. She should not get married. She should not get married overall. If taking up your husband's clothes is an issue, don't get married. Stay single.
Yo, wow. Wow.
Chad, what? No, Chad. So you know, I go come in at the house, just take off your dirty clothes, fling it at girl, and I'm for what back at your picture?
I did not say that. You're assuming that.
No, but is that part of her job?
It's not it's about a part of her job. It means if I come in the house and she puts misplaced something, I'm not going to say it's
We're
your
not
job to pick
talking
it up.
about
I'm just going to take it up and put it where it should be, because that is how mature people in a relationship behave.
No, but we're not talking about that, Chad. We're talking about if you are a messy person, you just throw down things all over the place. She never sign up to be your helper in that sense. To just walk up and clean up everything's behind.
No, you're putting me in a circumstance that I would not be in. I don't live like that. I don't live like I don't throw down myself because that is unreasonable.
He's not saying you.
I'm just creating a scenario.
Because I'm not unreasonable. You're making me seem like I'm a very unreasonable person who must pick up who you must pick up after.
No, all right. So
No. Let's make the argument based as if there are two reasonable people in a marriage. Reasonable. We can't draw the assumption that, let's say that you're extremely unreasonable, and should they have to deal with you? That can't be the argument, because that's just not a reasonable argument to put me in.
okay. So what's a reasonable argument to put you in?
What is
The
reasonable? That's the mere
Yeah.
question.
The statement that I made is,
Mm-hmm.
if picking up after your husband is an issue that you can't put up with, don't get married. That's the statement I made.
No, but
Did
we're using.
you communicate that to her that she would have to pick up after you?
I don't think I have to communicate that. I feel like if she's sick, it is expected of me to take care of her.
No, but
Can I cut in? I think what's happening here is that we're going to the extreme with each example.
mm-hmm.
He's saying, and I agree to some extent, and I agree to some extent. If picking up, or not, I don't want to use the word picking up because it says something else. But let's just use the terms, right? If say picking up after your partner is an issue, then maybe you should revisit it, right? The relationship. But also, if that person, after you've said, hey babe, when you come in, don't drop your clothes here, and then they don't try and compromise and say, okay, I'm not gonna drop my clothes next to the laundry bin, but I'm gonna drop it in the laundry bin, or I'm not gonna drop it at the entrance door, or whatever the case might be. But this is a very simple point. But if that's the case, then we gotta talk about this. But if not, then I mean, we gotta help her.
Now, everybody in the a lot of people in the comments are saying we're trying to force Chad to believe something that he doesn't believe in. I'm not trying to force that at all. No. We're trying to say that that's your preference, and this is our preference, right? But you're trying to say our preference is wrong.
Yeah.
And you're judging us for this, and and so what I'm saying is like I stick with your preference, and I support you in your preference and how you're going to do that, and that's all well and good. this is my process, and this is what I think will work for me and will make me happy.
We prefer prevention than cure.
Yes, that's,
No, but the thing is, if I'm going to state my opinion, I must give my advice. I must give my opinion, right?
no, your opinion is one thing, but trying to advise us on
Yes.
what you think aligns better with how you think, that's a different thing.
Yeah, I do believe that if you took on some of the things that I've said, you will be happier in your
Right,
I do
that's-
believe that objectively. I would
Sure,
say
but
that.
that's judging me for
No, I'm
how
not judging you.
how
I'm not
is that
judging
not?
you. No, it's not. It's not about judgment.
Mhm.
It's just about strictly speaking of the process, right? I could say to you that you pick you pick mangoes by throwing stones. I pick mangoes by using a stick. I could tell you using a stick is better, man. It's much more faster, and these are the reasons why. Because when you've all the stones you've thrown, I've been timing it, and you've gotten one mango per 5 minutes, but I've been getting one mango per 1 minute. So that has been my argument so far.
But you're speaking from experience of you using the stick as opposed to using the rock, right?
In this specific example, I'm using like the statistics of.
Yeah, but we were using we
I'm
were
using
basing
experience.
off our experience.
Yeah, but experience and statistics are two different things.
No.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm not no.
In both.
I would say yes.
Mhm.
There are two different things because statistics don't apply to everybody. We are individuals. We have different individual
Yeah, you
experiences.
choose what you want to do. Yeah, true.
No, we have different experiences.
Mhm.
So I don't care what the statistic says.
Yes.
I don't give a damn. But I'm telling you what has worked for me and what I think is the best for my path forward and my path towards having a happy and healthy relationship and building a family. Right. And you're gonna do what you do. And like you believe in that. And I'm like, good luck.
And I'm not.
Plus, you have to remember. You know, at the end of the day, you're talking about getting married,
And not everyone wants to
and the
get
thing
married
is,
as
you know,
well.
you're not agreeing with the way we would go about it. But remember, I am married.
I was just gonna say you don't have any experience in that.
Yeah, so I am
No,
married.
I don't think I have to be married in order to speak about marriage.
No, it's not the part about being married. You know, it's the fact that all right, I'm speaking on experience.
Mhm.
So I'm saying that I would prefer to have sex first before the marriage. You are saying that you would have sex after marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And I'm
that-
also arguing that having sex before marriage is not necessary to defining a long-term relationship.
For you.
for you,
For you. For
yes.
you.
For me, and
Yeah.
I'm also saying it objectively.
There's no objectivity in that
Yeah.
statement. There is no objectivity in that
I
statement.
believe there is.
No,
No, but
not.
there's not an
It-
objective statement.
It was
It's
back
a
down to the
completely
individuals.
subjective statement that you just said. By its very nature, you're saying that all people, from an objective opinion, are better off not having sex before marriage. I don't know how we got back to this, but
Yeah.
you dragged me back. This is not what I wanted to go back
Yeah.
to.
And that's just my belief. And but guess what a good thing is for you. You don't have to agree with it.
It's not about
It's-
agreeing. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Like my whole point is, it's like this is how you want to live your life,
Mhm.
and this is what you think is going to be the best and most successful way forward. And like all power to you, and I support you. And I'm saying for me, this is what I think is going to work for me based on my experience and what I have done
Mhm.
and been dating for however many decades at this point, and I can see that this is going to work for me. I don't necessarily think that that's for me, and that's it. And again, anybody who out there who wants to go your way and think your way and approach life that way, I think that's great, and I think they should. And I think they should go and figure out that way. And if I'm sure there's a million other ways of trying to figure out a relationship and have kids and be married.
Want to check some more comments?
Somebody said, why the ladies look so angry?
Why the lady look where?
Why the ladies looking so angry?
Oh, she probably did pissed off what Chad was saying.
No, just my resting face.
I just feel like certain things are just taken to the extreme when they're trying to be used as a simple example. And it's on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like we're using a simple example, and then this one example is being used to talk about a whole other thing. I'm just like, okay, that's maybe why I look like this.
Yeah, I think Shayna has it right here. It's about respecting each other's differences at the end of the day, and that's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
completely respect that, and like, no judgment whatsoever, and like anybody who chooses to live their life and go through the courtship and like that, like that's fine. But based on my experience, and this is again, this is what I think will work for me.
and Steven says what? Chad is that what you're saying, Chad?
I don't even want to go down this argument
Yeah,
again.
I think this topic has done
Yeah,
its
we've
time. It was on
beaten
the courts,
a dead
but
horse.
not quite.
No, but it's a valid point. You're
It's not an
saying.
all-encompassing of
Oh, this
development,
what
but
this comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think
all
yeah, I
right,
think we all can agree with that.
yeah, we can move
Yeah. Um. All right. Should we close off here? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you ready? Okay. I know. Any final closing statements?
Thank you. This was a very informative conversation.
Ramon.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. It was a good conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, very very interesting conversation. I got to learn perspective of my teammates and how they'll approach their relationships. But and also the comment section, a lot of conversations, discussions have been going on in there. I've been scanning a few every now and again. But yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I think it's been an interesting conversation. Definitely, we want the feedback of the community, what your opinions are on the issue. We do value your opinions, and I think it has been a healthy conversation, and that we can all go forward stating our opinion without like feeling like we need to hold back what our opinion is.
Now we just got some good questions here. I'll just read them. We don't have to answer them. It's perfectly imperfect. Says I would like to hear about your best and worst dating experiences. Go a long time about that, particularly on the worst side. Kick Rock says, is anyone feeling like they will never find a partner? Wait, wait, which one am I answering? You want me to answer? Which one?
Anyone feeling?
I guess we could answer that. I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm very optimistic about finding someone. I don't feel any like pressure or anything like that in terms of timeline being 39 or anything like that. I'm in a phase of my life where I'm very much focused on career and building something for myself and building myself. But even with that, I do think I'm very optimistic about my family future at the end of the day.
I'm optimistic. I have not lost hope in men. um, but I will continue going through the. I mean, I'm in a relationship now, and that has the potential of going much further. We went through the stages of getting to know each other, dating, and relationship, and that's been a couple months, almost a year of the whole stages. So but very optimistic, and as long as we continue to have conversations with the person we're interested in being with and willing to compromise.
Uh, oh, you know, optimism is good, and I would like to be optimistic. I am optimistic for the most part, but there's just that feeling that maybe not. So, yeah.
I'm with my person for 3 years now. Yeah, I'm with my person for 3 years now, going 4. So yeah.
Shout out to Ramon's
Yeah,
wife.
well, I
I think
think
she's watching.
I think it's easy to find a partner. Much more difficult to find the right partner, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm optimistic that it may happen. Um, but I think more so I'm focused on finding the right partner rather than just finding a partner.
And Miss Perfectly Imperfect, yes, please stay positive and optimistic. There's someone out there. Don't let the past trauma and experiences, darken the future. Just use them as learning lessons and what to look out for, red flags.
He's a
Wisdom.
relationship coach.
What?
Yeah, I thought this was good. Shane is asking, will there be a part two of this type of discussion? I would do it again if you guys would be down. Yep, I thought this was
I
good.
would not be included. I'll write the questions.
Yeah. What if you meet somebody by then? Then you can speak from experience.
How soon will this be?
I don't know, some point in the future. This was good. Thank you everybody for joining out there in TV land and YouTube world, and thank you guys for hopping on this. That definitely appreciate the time. This was a long one, but this was good. I learned a lot. I learned about dating culture in Jamaica, in Jamaican dating culture. And thank you all in the audience for your questions and for your participation. Always appreciate it. Thank you to our channel members and also our Patreons. Really appreciate your support. We'll be back next week on Sunday, probably talking more finance and interest rates. But this was definitely a fun one. I hope you all learned something out there. I know I most certainly did. And yeah, we can leave it there. See you next week Sunday. Peace, everyone.
Oh, we're not gonna.
Oh, sorry. What?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Have a lovely Sunday.
Bye, guys.